across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Well, the plot thickens about Aston Villa and the ban on the Tel Aviv team coming to Villa Park, because we said yesterday that the advisory group, which looks at all the security, would be, would be potentially independent and would be reasonable. Good, I need to apologise to you. We were wrong. Today, the newspapers have reported people, including Councillor Wazim Zafar, have made multiple anti-Israeli statements, and which, once again, this problem that we've talked about, the jihadis, the extremists, have all headed for the Home Office, have all headed for policing, have all headed for council public safety departments and indeed built environment departments and all these sorts of groups. And what is happening time and time again is the very people who are supposed to be protecting our community are led by directors and board members who themselves are jihadis. Now, OK, I'm going to say this. Look at Jeremy Corbyn today. I've said multiple times on this show that I live next door to Slough. I absolutely love Slough. I think it's brilliant. I love it so much I live in Windsor. But OK, but I like the place very much. I like the proliferation of curries. I like the fact that shopping is brilliant. I like the fact that there's a bargain shop there and all this sort of stuff. And obviously, I like the fact that there are very fast trains to London. Don't take them myself, I've got a driver. But if I did, no, I'm joking. If I did take them, then I'd be able to get to Paddington in 13 minutes. And also, Slough has the largest privately owned trading estate in the country. It's got the GDP of very, very rich areas of the world. Although, of course, a lot of the housing is poorer people. But that town is about to get a jihadi member of parliament, pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah, pro-Iran, along with all the rest of these people that Jeremy Corbyn is putting up for election. And we've seen the damage that having a jihadi member of parliament has had in Perrybar, where Aston Villa is, and now we're going to see that right across the country, because what we've done is we've created these enclaves, what David Starkey calls the tribal areas, and those tribal areas, colonies. Yeah, those tribal areas. And by the way, the word is not immigrant, it's settler. If you come to a particular country and you decide to maintain your own religion, maintain your own language, maintain your own dress sense, maintain your own culture, and all live in your own enclave, you are a settler, not a migrant.
Isn't that a coloniser?
Or colonist, yeah, whatever you want. So anyway, I think that what we need to talk about tonight is the way that we have now got a serious challenge from a major jihadi organisation. I don't accept that Hezbollah is all a bit of fun. Jeremy Corbyn himself is a moron. He's the guy who had the gap year that never ended. But the people behind him are really, really sinister people. The sort of people like the MP for Perrybar who can raise a force of Muslim men to threaten Villa Park and to threaten Aston Villa and to threaten the Jewish community. But more importantly than that, the independent body which is supposed to be protecting Aston Villa on this day, we now know itself has been infiltrated. And what level of security will they put on? Well, not enough to have the game with a full set of fans. We'll see what else they attempt to do in the coming days and weeks. Look, we're going to invite George Madgwick, who is the leader of Reform UK at Portsmouth City Council, onto the show. But given Asher is A, Jewish, and B, an Aston Villa fan, I think it's important for you to comment on what you think's happened today.
They have to overturn this decision. I know Stam was making noises about it, but they have to do something. Apparently the Home Secretary heard it might be cancelled. They might be cancelled their attendance last week, but didn't realise they were going to. That's their excuse. But if she knew they might, she should have come out and said immediately, no. We've got this sectarian voting, which our system isn't set up to deal with, so we need to change the system, because we can't have people using our liberal system against ourselves and then imposing their will on us. And we've already seen people, we saw what's his name, the former Scottish leader, Hammers are useless. him saying, yeah, well, and they're saying it openly, we need to all take over all the major prominent positions in this country. We need to run things.
But it started...
It's all out in the open.
But it started with this, Asher, didn't it? When the Labour Party, the Conservatives, the Liberal Democrats, the SNP, all these parties said, you know, we need our parliamentary group to be more representative. So they were saying things like, oh, you know, we need X number of black people, we need X number of white people.
Well, that's racist. That's where it's gone wrong. And all
course.
these community leaders. Where are the white working class don't have community leaders. The middle class. That only means one thing, doesn't it? Community leaders.
Of course it does.
Everyone is just British, and at Villa, everyone is just Villa fans. They shouldn't be all different, you know.
But when you were talking about we need to represent all of our communities, what do you mean? British people and settlers?
Yeah, well,
that's what you're talking about.
Yeah,
that's what you're talking about. Okay, let's talk to George Madgwick. George, look, I know that you're obviously on the right. You're somebody who believes that we should defend this country and not have uncontrolled immigration.
He's a Reform UK Portsmouth leader of the council there, aren't you?
Do you think we're going too far by saying that this is an example of a settler community? Because you know my view, George, which is that increasingly these areas have their own system of government, increasingly they have their own system of policing. And from what I can see in Perrybar in Aston, what the community has said is this is a Muslim area and Jewish fans should not be allowed in a Muslim area. Now, am I wrong?
It's shocking, and when I heard it, I was so disappointed. I think it's such a bad reflection of this country and where we've come to, and where we've got to now. And I don't know how we turn this around and turn this around quickly, because it's wildly unacceptable. But you're right, there are communities now within the country that seem to be governed by themselves, by their own rules, by their own regulations, and by their own thoughts. And if you don't like it, they manage to somehow get away with changing the rules. You know, if the shoe was on the other foot, and say, for example, Tottenham banned, you know, a club from the Middle East for coming over for X, Y, or Z, there'd be there'd be protests on the streets by tomorrow. You know, it's really, really bad.
But the very same people who are going to the UN worrying about the plight of indigenous people are also supportive of this. And by the way, I'm not rebuking immigration, though I think it's too high. I recognise that people will move from country to country, and certainly we've colonised Spain. But I do think that there is an important difference between a small number of people coming over and just moving into another street wherever, and transplanting person by person entire villages from Pakistan and Bangladesh to one particular area. And now you can talk about, or one can talk about, Chinatown and Golders Green, but you have to remember, in the case of Chinatown, it's principally an economic thing because of the number of Chinese restaurants. The Chinese don't necessarily all live there. And secondly, when you talk about Golders Green, it's just an area that is pretty mixed, but happens to have a high population of Jewish people because it's quite near the synagogue. It's not
placed any differently.
Yeah, it happens to be close to the synagogue. It's not a no-go area for people who aren't Jewish.
No, this is the point. It's the police in double standards, right? I think this is the crux of the matter here, and what the story is. The police are essentially saying you can't come to Birmingham because you are Jewish. I mean, it's completely anti-Semitic. It's a complete attack on Jewish people, not just in this country, but across the world. You know, and regardless of how you feel about how another government has acted in a country like Israel far away, that's not reflective of the entire population of Israel, you know, and to punish everybody in Israel, to say that you can't come over simply because you're Jewish and we might cause problems.
See, George, I've got to be honest with you, I don't think it's got anything to do with Israel. And I know that's going to surprise people because they go, how can banning an Israeli club have nothing to do with Israel? It's got something to do with two-tier governance. It's about saying, here is the system in Britain, here is the system of liberal democracy, here is the system of freedom of sporting choice, if you want to call it that. Those rules don't apply in the tribal areas. In the tribal areas, we are allowed to do things differently.
That's where it's all gone wrong.
They always talk about how the right try to divide people, right? That's the message from the Green Party all the time.
Yes.
How Nigel Farage and Reform try to divide everybody. But what they don't realise is, clearly don't realise because they're clearly ignorant, is the kind of actions that they're doing at the moment in Birmingham is what is actually dividing people. This is what's getting us talking.
But they do realise it, you know, they do realise what they're saying. They're causing a division.
Interesting.
That's what they want.
It'd be interesting if, as an example, let's think of a patriotic area. It'd be an interesting example if Aston Villa offered to move the match to Aldershot. And I'll tell you why that would be an interesting thing. Because what then you would be forcing the government to consider is not whether it's wrong to invite the Israeli club. You'd be asking them to consider whether they couldn't allow them to come to Aston because it is a hostile environment for British people.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and I think that would be an interesting test, wouldn't it? And I think that is reflective of what's going on here, and it is because of where the location of Aston Villa is. We know that, you know that, you know, it's because of the location of Aston Villa, and I think we've got to be really honest about that and talk about that and really understand why the issue is there. But fundamentally, as you said, they've managed to infiltrate all levels of the authority there.
Yes.
You know, you've got the MPs being proactively speaking against it. The local councillors are speaking proactively against it.
The Home Office, everywhere.
Yeah, literally, and it's appalling. You know, it's appalling that we've essentially now got a no-go area for any form of religion or white people or whatever. There's a no-go area currently around Aston Villa that's been created and has been.
But we saw it. But I remember writing to the Metropolitan Police, and I wrote to them under the Freedom of Information Act, and I said to them, homophobic hate crime is going down in London. It seems to be going up in Tower Hamlets. What is the reason for that? And they said they didn't know what the reason was. Interesting. So nobody's had a discussion about it. They don't know. So I said, what is the religion or perceived religion of the suspects or those arrested? They said, we don't record it in that form. And then I said, how many had the word Muhammad or Islam or Khan in their name? And they said, this is a vexatious request and we are no longer writing to you again. Now, look, are you telling me that the police in Tower Hamlets don't know why homophobic hate crime is rising? They don't want to admit it because it's a tribal area.
But that's weakness, isn't it? There should be no-go. There shouldn't be any no-go areas in this country. And once you appease this is get worse. I mean, this is years after that Batley Grammar School teacher is still in hiding. I mean, you've got to stand up to these people. And also, the police could secure the fans' safety. Football is one of the most violent, some of the matches, and they always manage to control.
But Asher, let's live in the real world. The Greater Manchester Police had a choice. They could either damage community relations, quote unquote. The Greater Manchester Police. They could either, quote unquote, damage community relations, or they could stop the rape of children in Rochdale, and they chose to defend.
So we know know what the right answer is.
I mean, if you're willing to assist rape gangs in raping children as a police officer, then you're definitely going to be on the side of the jihadi MP when it comes to Aston Villa, and you're definitely going to cover up the homophobic hate crime in East London.
And I think it's really important you brought up the Tower Hamlets. You know, we all know the reason. Tower Hamlets is run by the Aspire Party.
Yes.
Aspire Party is led by a gentleman who was literally convicted of electoral fraud on a serious
And now he's
scale.
back in charge.
And now he's back in charge.
How is that legal even? How is that even legal?
And even just was it this week? Yeah, I think it was this week or last weekend. They had the East London Mosque Marathon thing, the family fun run in Tower Hamlets, where they banned any females over the age of 12 from taking part in the family fun run. You know, that isn't integrated.
And in their statement, they said, we have a strong track record of supporting women's rights. Interesting. But actually, as far as they're concerned, women's rights are not what's in the British statute, it's what's in the Quran, and they're simply Quranic.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the problem, and it's the thing is that it is against the law. You can't discriminate. We have a country of liberties, as you said before, and we don't discriminate against women.
The law comes ahead.
That's right. Law. The law in Tower Hamlets is what the Sharia Council say.
That's even what our Home Secretary sort of suggested, didn't she? When she was, my Islamic way comes above everything.
Yeah, it's shocking, and it's being allowed, and it's being allowed in front of our faces. And then when we say, look, there's a two-tier system going on, there's two-tier policing, and then they call us crazy for. But
George, we had that for years. That for years. Do you remember Nigel Farage debates Nick Clegg, and he says they're attempting to create an EU army, and he says it's a dangerous fantasy. I mean, I know this isn't related to Brexit, but if you look throughout every single element of the road to federalism, which is what forced us out of the European Union. Every single step was opposed by Britain, and the people that opposed it were told that they were fantasists and none of it was happening. And then when it happened, they'd go, oh, it's done now, we can't undo it. And that's what's happening with the tribal areas, the creation of... And by the way, I'll tell you one thing that we've got to remember. You know, we are talking about in the West Bank. Israel was attacked, and Israel took territory from other countries entirely lawfully. It seems to be run in the West Bank, and particularly the side of the West Jerusalem actually quite well. But anyway, they are building settlements in their own country. And there are people in Britain kicking off about it. Those same people who are angry are in support of the building of Muslim settlements in Britain, which is a foreign country to the people that have arrived. How is that consistent?
Well, it's not, isn't it? But that's the double standards and hypocrisy of the left of politics, right? It's really easy to unpick their arguments. I mean, they always scream about things that they care about, and then they will do exactly the same thing the day after.
That's why they scream racist to shut down the argument. You know, they can't argue rationally, and they know they can't. It's like they're rational saying queers from Palestine.
By the way, let's just quote back what they've said about the Palestinian Authority. How on earth can you run a country when there are plenty of bits of it that have settlers inside who live under completely different rules? Hello, everyone. Welcome to Birmingham. More next.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Okay, this is The Late Show with Andre Walker and Ashley Gould. I just thought I'd talk to George Madrick from Portsmouth City Council. He's the leader of Reform UK. And let's talk a little bit about Prince Andrew. So, as I understand it, and it is still a little opaque, he's resigned as an HRH, he's resigned as a member of the Order of the Garter, and he will not use his titles, those titles that were bestowed on him, which are the Duke of York, the Earl of Inverness, and Baron Killy, I think it is. Normally what they do is they give them a dukedom in England, an earldom in Scotland, and a barony in Northern Ireland, and sometimes they do some a Welsh Viscount, but they didn't in this case.
It's all gone up in a puff of smoke.
So he's now, well, he hasn't, because he's now still got those 3 peerages. So you can say what you like. You are welcome to call yourself Prince Andrew, or you can call yourself Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, or you can call yourself Pepsi and Shirley. But the reality is, you are the Duke of York.
Well, he'll always be Prince Andrew as well, won't he?
Yes.
I mean, you can't get rid of that.
Should we have a system of removal? Mind you, do you know what annoys me about this question?
What's that mean?
I'm inviting George to say there should be a system of getting rid of peerages, but you know full well that if that system comes in, everyone that Nigel Farage will nominate, they'll try and get rid of through some system. If you created the House of Lords Removal of Peerages Committee, every smelly lefty they've stuck in there for the past 20
years. And there's a lot of them.
Oh, so here we go. George, I invite you to defend the Duke of York on the basis that losing him would be worse.
I certainly won't be doing that. I think, this has come probably 6 years too late. I think he should have resigned his titles the day after that ridiculous interview that he had where I think the entire nation all collectively united under the fact that he was lying live on TV.
But he thought it went really well.
Yeah, but he's a moron.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
The lack of self-awareness.
Like Harry, very similar to Prince Harold.
I think you raise a good point about removing peerages. And I do actually think that's a really good point, because you're right. It's the one thing that kind of stops becoming political as soon as you've got your peerage, because once you've got it, you can't have it removed. And I think there's an argument for and against it. I mean, personally, I actually like the House of Lords on a personal level, because I don't think...
because you want to be one.
I would like to be a Lord, absolutely.
I'm sure you would. 350 quid a day, that's all your expenses. It's wonderful.
An incredible honour to be a Lord, absolutely. But, it's people are in there for the wrong reasons. We all know that. And people are in there because they've donated a certain amount of money, and that's wrong. So the system isn't perfect. It's not good.
I think there's a bigger problem, though, isn't there? And I know there's been a long discussion about Nigel Farage becoming Prime Minister and what to do about the peerages, because we know full well that... to use an American phrase, they will bang the legislative gavel, straight over the head of Nigel Farage if he doesn't have a large number of peers in there. Because at the moment, it is just a nest of pro-Europeanism. It's stuffed full of Liberal Democrats. I remember that question to a Conservative minister about 5 years ago, where one of his colleagues stood up and went... is my noble friend able to name one member of the Liberal Democrat Party who has not been given a peerage by this government? And he stood up and he went, no, I'm not able to do that. And everyone laughed. 250 Liberal Democrats in the House of Lords. What have they got? 20 MPs or something? I forget what it is.
Well, I mean, I've known personally over the years doing the show 5 Lords who've ended up in prison. So, and that's actually worse than the national average.
It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, Lord Ahmed, Lord Archer, Lord Brockett, Lord John Taylor, and maybe it was only 4.
When I was at university,
with all of them. Think of another one.
When I was at university, in our seminar, there was a guy who had to do a presentation about the House of Lords, and he talked like that, and he went, "The House of Lords has changed under Labour. Nowadays, there's more black lords than there ever were before. There's more female lords than there ever were before. There's more Asian lords than there ever were before. And there's more gay..." And we all went, what are there more of? And he went, "I didn't mean it like that."
Gaylord used to be an Indian restaurant in Birmingham. It was a lovely restaurant.
I think you made a good... Do you know what? Until you said it, I didn't actually think, but you're right about the Liberal Democrat Lords. I've met, I think, about 10 Lords being in politics in the last 4 years, and I've never met anyone that's not a Liberal Lord. So that's actually...
Well, Baroness Ducey, Dee Ducey, when she was put in the House of Lords, she's a very nice lady, by the way. And so when I have a go at these appointments, it's not a personal insult. But Dee Ducey, I asked a Liberal Democrats guy, why is it that Dee Ducey got a seat in the House of Lords? And they said, well, we wanted her seat on the London Assembly. We wanted her to retire. So the Liberal Democrats had that many peerages that they were trading seats in local government for seats in the House of Lords.
Dame Dee
Ducey. That is a thing that happens. I know that that's a thing that happens because I've been in rooms where people have had those conversations. So I know that people sometimes look at getting rid of seats to move people into other seats, and they offer a Lord as a method of doing that. But I just want to go back to what you said about Nigel Farage in the House of Lords, because I think that's a really good point. And I think what was really refreshing that he announced about a month ago, which when I heard it, I thought, oh my God, this is such a great idea, is the fact of him filling his cabinet with experienced people in those fields if he was Prime Minister. And obviously to do that, he would have to give a lot of peerages out on almost day one to obviously make these people lords, to then put them in cabinet and ministerial positions. But I think that's a really refreshing way of looking at it. Because
But it's pretty obvious, isn't it? I mean, it's ridiculous that we think that's innovative, to actually have people who know what they're doing in a ministerial position.
Tell me about it. But what a great idea!
To tell you what Nigel Farage has been advised to do. Now, I've no idea whether he will do this. Is that when he goes into the King and the King says to him, "I want to invite you to form a government," Nigel Farage has been told to say, "I can't do that." The reason I can't do that is because I've got a very hostile upper chamber, and it is highly unlikely that I'll be able to pass any legislation unless you give me 300 peerages today. And here is a list of 300 members of the Reform Party and others. We may well pass law to reduce the size of the House of Lords later, but right now, today, I'm going to need a large number of Lords, and it will be in the hundreds.
And I think this is something that's got to be spoken about, because I don't think the general population really know what the Lords do. I mean, we do in our circles because we're in politics and we discuss it on the daily, right? But I think the general population struggle to understand the difference between local government elections and national elections sometimes. So I think that the Lords is a really important thing. In America, they obviously have the upper house and stuff. It's a real public thing that they talk about and have on TV a lot, but we don't really talk about the House of Lords. But as you say, they almost have full control over the government, or certainly governance over the government.
Oh, yeah.
And they can tie up reform or Nigel's agenda for months, if not years, if they choose to, and it will be an absolute nightmare. So you're right, there'll have to be a seismic change within the House of Lords almost overnight to make it, to make it plausible.
Okay, George
Like Guy Fawkes.
George Madrick, who is the leader of Reform UK at Portsmouth City Council. Thank you. By the way,
Thanks, George.
By the way, to answer the questions that have been flooding in, Tony Banks, after he got his peerage, changed his name to Stratford, so he became Lord Stratford. If one of the Reform peers changed their surname to Vader, yes, they would in fact be Lord Vader. There we go.
Nice one.
We're going to break now. We're going to talk to a guy who was thrown off Big Brother as a result of cancel culture. That is the second one that's happened. We're back in a sec.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Ridiculous.
I've just got a message saying, Andre, lay off the weight loss jabs. You were okay as you were.
I'll get your money back if I were you.
I look like I'm on weight loss jabs.
Sue them.
Do I look? No, what I was saying was my best mate is a diabetic, and as a result of being a diabetic, he has to take weight loss jabs. Well, sorry, they're diabetes medication that are now used for weight loss, and he is incredibly against them and thinks they're very bad things. Anyway, we talked to Emily Hewitson the other week, who's one of our contributors who went into the Big Brother house. I think she briefly may have met our next guest, who was thrown out of Big Brother for making... You know what? I was about to say making some off-colour remarks. Actually, just saying some random stuff that was no more than a talking point. But nonetheless, you know that there is a cancel culture in this country, and he was cancelled as a result. It's George Gilbert. George, how are you?
Not too bad, mate. Thank you very much.
It's been a bit of a weird time, though, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster. I said, imagine this is what it feels like. You're 17, your best mate's just passed his driving test, and he's taking you for a spin in his new car, up the motorway, breaking all the speed limits. You feel uncomfortable, even in danger.
Yeah.
But I quite like it.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. You're not in control.
But you ended up crashing. So how
well,
was
it's a write-off.
Have you been
really.
injured, or I mean, what were you thrown out? Some choice comments or something?
Yeah, well, I've always been one to.
You had a lot of warnings,
debate.
apparently.
Yeah.
But you can't say anything these days, and you get a warning.
Tell me about it.
So what were the few things? How did it start? What was the first thing?
Well, guess how long it took for me to rack up my first warning.
This first day. Yeah.
First day. Yeah.
Oh, I'd beat that.
Oh, no, it's got to be a record.
I would beat that. Celebrity Big Brother, I'll have that. I'll have that. 15 minutes.
So you're summoned to the diary room, and they go, "Come in."
Yeah. Well,
George.
on night one, do you want to know what the?
Yeah.
Well, it's.
What did you do?
Again,
George?
it was just asking questions.
Well, by the way, why don't we just say to the viewers and listeners, he's going to come up with what he was thrown off Big Brother for. So if you're easily offended,
And by the way, if you want to speak to George, you watch the show, give us a ring 0344449.
Because now, if we say that, the regulator will let us say anything. So no, I'm joking.
Well, I've got nothing to lose
So the
anyway.
first
Public enemy
problem-
number one, didn't I?
What's your
first
first?
one? So I said I don't believe that anybody in history was wholly good or evil.
Okay.
I think
That's right. Yeah.
I then went on to use the most extreme example for my sins. I said Hitler. He's what most people would call the most evil person
He was
ever.
a vegetarian.
Right,
I've
or wrong.
heard people say
Yeah,
that.
and
an
an
animal lover.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just like me, I'm vegetarian and an
I
animal
mean,
lover.
yeah. But of course, I mean,
Bodes well,
a
doesn't
lot
it?
of mass murderers, they love their family, but
it was
still evil.
I think I do prefer animals to humans. Animals are harmless.
A lot of people.
It was
do, yeah.
remarkable, apart from lions.
Lions aren't. Yeah.
It was,
Tigers,
but
yeah.
it was actually
our
it's
national animal.
It's interesting you should say that, because I think there's a lot of people who would say we all have a capacity for good and we all have a capacity for evil, right? And therefore, when you look at Rudolf Hess, who actually lied at the Nuremberg trial, he said that he'd gassed 2 million people at Auschwitz, where he'd only gassed 1 million, right? Which is a remarkable thing. So when he was literally on trial for his crimes, he was unapologetic. In fact, he was disappointed to learn he'd done as badly as he'd done. But, you know...
Why did he lie about that then?
I think he was trying to show off, believe it or not, at his own trial. So that shows...
You mean Eichmann, or was it
No,
Hess? Rudolf Hess.
Rudolf
He
Hess.
hanged himself with his hairdryer cord at Spandau, didn't he?
But the point is this. So I think objectively the Holocaust is an act of evil. But first of all,
of course.
But the next point to make was his family lived on the outskirts of the camp and had apparently a very normal family life, and he was a normal dad. And I think what you can always say is that people can be evil in a certain context. So as an example, look, what Hitler did was objectively evil, but the fact that he liked his dog doesn't mean the Holocaust
Well, a
didn't
lot of
happen.
them are psychopaths, and they're very charming people. You know, they can seem it to. You know what I mean? But they're still
1 in
evil.
20 people they reckon are psychopaths. So
I'll tell you who-
one in
I'll
this
tell you-
building.
I'll tell you
Who is
what,
it?
It probably is me. Yeah.
Here, yeah,
I came across.
Get 'em gone.
I came across in politics a corporate. You know, they've got this new concept of a corporate psychopath, which is they say that actually most psychopaths are not murderers. You know, but
They're
they
like Alan Sugar or Richard Branson.
They get
that
their
sort of- yeah.
kicks. They get their kicks from causing trouble around them, and you can always find them because they're the one that's steady as a rock amongst the chaos.
A great leader.
Sounds
That's
a bit
probably
like me, to be
Donald
honest.
Trump. Donald Trump is probably one. You know what I mean? It's
So
those
so
sort of
you
people.
so you
Yeah,
said
well, I said nobody is wholly good or evil.
No, that's true. I mean,
but then I went on to say Hitler. I'm sure Hitler wasn't sitting there going, like, watching the Holocaust play out and going, oh, I'm so evil.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
he thought this is the right thing to do. I'm a good man for doing this.
Yes.
That's what he would have, and he would have been fed a pack of lies to believe that.
Yes.
So I said Hitler was therefore misguided.
And also,
but by saying he's misguided, apparently I'm justifying the Holocaust.
But is he evil as well? I mean, I would say he's evil.
He had good intentions, but I think he just blamed the wrong people. He thought what he was doing was good.
But
murdering people is just evil.
But we've always said the path to hell is paved with good intentions, right? The reality is Hitler believed he was cleaning up Germany. But this is the other problem.
But it wasn't.
But we have.
Did he believe that, or was he just anti-Semitic?
But this is the other problem that we've got. People now respect people's beliefs, don't they? Right? If you believe the solution to Germany's problems is to gas the Jews, I have no respect for your belief. But nowadays we've got to pretend we respect them, don't we?
Well, not really. I mean, you know, you'll get arrested if it's on certain things. Won't you? You know what I mean?
And I mean, I don't know what your boundaries of free speech is. Is it? Do we draw the line at inciting violence? Do we draw the line at what could be offensive?
So the definition
that's the blurred line.
The definition
right
of free speech that we tend to go for is this. We allow all free speech. Obviously, we've got a regulator for taste and decency and whatever, but we don't normally come into conflict with them late at night, so you can imagine. But we say incitement is not free speech. So as an example, or indeed is commissioning of a crime. So if the three of us today were talking about doing a bank job together, that wouldn't be free speech. It would be merely planning the commissioning of a crime, which would be illegal as well.
True, but until you rob that bank, you haven't done it. So you're not a criminal.
It's conspiracy.
So where are we drawing the line?
I think you can be done for conspiracy, but it's a reasonable point. But I think what we try and do is not have our delineation where the College of Policing puts it. We have a delineation where it actually becomes incitement or whatever. But the other thing is that we've had Tom Harris on this show from the Free Speech Union on multiple occasions, who says that the law should change on incitement and it should be much more like America, where you have to specifically name something. So you have to go, instead of saying, I wish we rid the world of Jews, you have to say, go to this synagogue on this occasion.
Charles Manson, he never killed anyone himself. He just sent his followers to go and murder, Sharon Tate and a couple of others.
Is he as guilty as them?
Yeah, he went, murder, because he was the one who sent them.
I mean, on paper, surely he is.
But he actually incited them. He said, he gave them the address, and they were his followers. He was like a messiah.
So after this show, if I go and murder someone, but en route I listen to a Taylor Swift song, and then I say in court, it just...
No, you get done and she gets
done. Should Taylor Swift go and get
jailed? If she ordered you to, you'd both get... Well, if she ordered you to, if she phoned you up and said, George, go to this address and kill these people...
No, but by listening to her song,
that's not incitement.
But if she's not directly her song and that's made me want to do it, surely she, by your logic...
No, my logic is she would have to say, go to this address and kill these people. But anyway, your first...
By the way, I just to the pedants getting in touch. Apologies if my pronunciation of Rudolf Hess is wrong, but there are two of them with similar names.
No, you're Nazis.
Right? One of them was the commandant of Auschwitz. The other one was, quite rightly, in British custody. I don't know the pronunciation of either of them.
But look, we've had your first one. You said Hitler had certain good attributes about him. Number 2 warning.
Number 2. So this also wasn't televised.
By the way, are you related to Ken Livingstone? Because it all gets a bit Nazi-ish, doesn't it?
It reminds me of Elizabeth I.
Well, I get Mick Hucknall a lot.
Yeah, Mick Hucknall,
I've been called worse in my time. Anyway.
I met Mick Hucknall once. I'll tell you this story quickly. I met him after Question Time, and you know BBC Question Time. I was a parliamentary researcher, and one of my MP boss was on. And at the time, used to go. I don't know if you still do. Used to go to dinner with the presenter afterwards, and it was at Granada Television, where there's a flat upstairs, and Dimbleby, throughout the entire dinner, smoked Marlboro Reds and blew the smoke in Mick Hucknall's face. I don't know what his problem with him was, and I've told this story before, but it culminated in...
Did he go...
It culminated in Mick Hucknall saying, I'm an art collector, and Dimbleby saying, posters don't count as art.
Anyway, your second public warning.
So on the topic of me being a redhead, I said, as someone with red hair, blue eyes, white skin, I've been told that makes me the rarest breed of human.
Oh, yeah, that's probably right.
0.001% or something.
It's probably right.
It's crazy. Yeah, well, it's only Northern Europe that it's native to.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
So I suppose I'm quite happy with that. I stand out. Because it's all recessive, not a dominant gene.
Yeah.
So I said, as a result, I feel something of an obligation to procreate with a woman who can
Who's a
continue
ginger?
my genes. Not necessarily. I mean, my mum's brunette, so it doesn't have to be. But
Well, that's going a bit too far.
but
not your mum,
I did say, as a result, if I was to have a child with a brown or black woman, for example, I might do, who knows? But if I was, then the child will have brown skin, light brown skin, brown eyes, brown hair, and the ginger genes would die. Now,
Well, I could have ginger hair.
I said, if I do that, I feel like I'm maybe betraying my kind. Because I said betraying, that's the wrong word. I hold my hands up. At the end of the day, I'm not media trained. I'm a 23-year-old lad with opinions.
But gingers should have their own characteristic.
I believe in self-accountability. I'm not trying to shift the blame, but I don't think that's enough.
But in the words
that's not offensive, is it?
In the words, was it Frankie Boyle who said that we gingers are the Aborigines of Britain?
Yeah.
That was worse if you'd said that.
Aborigine just means original person.
So that was the next occasion.
Yeah, so that was another one.
Just because you had red hair, they wore
well, I
you
said
a public walk.
be-
I mean, quite right, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's gingerism.
Yeah,
isn't it?
gingerism.
Can we
Yeah,
cover that?
but that's still
we
legal.
coined that on this show.
What was
tonight.
the third?
Third one, so
warning?
this was the first one that was televised. So we were playing a game of spin the bottle to spice things up.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people sit on the fence in there, don't want to rock the boat.
Yeah.
So we're playing spin the bottle.
Can you
truth
sit
or
on the
dare.
fence and not rock the boat?
No, that's why we wanted to get all the namby-pambies to give their opinions. Because I'm the only bugger that.
Well,
gives
that's
my
the thing. The
opinion.
other youth there, they're all a bit insipid and
I know,
puny
yeah,
and weak and
splinters on their
complain.
arse, yeah.
Is that why haven't you been affected? Did you go to private? Have you been educated differently? Is it the schools that have made them all these pillocks that they've produced?
No, it's in my blood. I've always been quite subversive. So.
But is it
I
how
call
many?
a
Is
spade
it
a
like
spade.
80% of your age group are like those other? But the woke
Yeah,
people?
well, 80% of people are. I mean, how many people are as noisy and loud as you?
But you've been indoctrinated, haven't you, in school? You know what I mean? Maybe not you.
I mean, I think universities definitely do that. I didn't go to university, proudly. So I wouldn't advise it if there's any young people listening. Don't go to university.
Well, they
you
send
don't need it.
50% now go to university, and that means you're just of average intelligence.
Well,
which
if you want to
wasn't
make
where it used to
money,
be.
it'll be in the blue-collar jobs, the plumbers,
Yeah,
the
plumbers,
electricians.
yeah.
With an AI
Yeah,
boom on the horizon,
with
we don't
Charlie
need
Mullins.
sociologists.
Getting a degree in underpant pulling up from the University of Grey
I know,
buildings. is
David
not-
Beckham
can get
studies.
that.
So
Oh,
go
no,
on.
we need more sociologists about North African lesbian poetry.
The
please.
spin the
Not
bottle.
electrician.
What happened with the spin
Yeah,
the
spin the bottle lands on me, and I'm tasked with saying something bad about each and every housemate the day before nominations.
Brilliant.
That bodes well. Basically, face-to-face nominations. So I'd call one lad too loud. I'd say the same about you two. I called one girl. She needs to get involved more. One girl has a really thick Northern Irish accent. I said, I can't really understand your love. And then I got to this housemate called Sam. He's gay, and he's very, should we say, flamboyant.
Yes.
So I just said, I couldn't think of the word off the top of my head at the time. So I just said, Sam, you're a bit nah. And because I did the old limp wrists, they called it.
But that doesn't mean gay. You could be straight and be like that.
Well,
There's a lot of
they
hairdressers who are like
implied-
that and they're not gay.
Well, the offence was
I'm a bit
offensive
like that.
language.
David Platt used to run around like that.
Well, they said limp wrists is offensive because Sam was bullied for that at school. How was I to know?
Yeah, how do you know?
Not-
Yeah, that's
I know.
right.
So it's kind of rubbish. I was done for offensive language, but they worded it as in I was being a bit homophobic.
Were they setting you up, ITV? Because they interviewed you first and they know your views and they know what you're going to do
Yeah,
and come
well,
across
it's,
as. We saw it, I mean, on a bigger scale with Gino Di Campo. They go, oh, get naked, Gino. I laugh for 10 years. And then years later they go, he was naked on set.
Yeah, misogynist, is it?
Yeah,
That's
so do you think
the
they
latest
set you up a bit? They like doing that,
Well,
don't they? These
I
evil
don't
TV
know.
executives.
I don't want to.
Evil.
You know, hold
And
a
you get
grudge or
paid
anything.
even though you got thrown out?
You get paid per day, yeah. Only
You don't get a whole show fee.
No, you don't. You don't get paid to go on like the celebs do. You just get a fee every day to cover your bills.
Well, look, Jane has been watching it. Jane in Milton Keynes. She's keen. She wants to speak to you. Go on,
on,
Jane.
Janie.
Give it to him. Spin that bottle.
Hiya.
Hello.
Hiya.
Hi.
Yeah.
You're through
How
to
you
George. Gilbert and George. No,
Can
George
you hear
Gilbert.
me?
Hi,
Can you
Jane.
hear me?
What's your question?
No, we can't.
Can't hear me?
No.
I can hear you.
I can hear you perfectly.
Say something.
He's irrelevant anyway.
Well, somebody can't hear me.
No, I didn't hear that.
They can't hear
He
me.
can. He's mucking about.
No, yeah, you're through to George. Have you been watching George on Big Brother?
Yeah. Can you put yourself?
I'll put you
please?
through.
I'm
Go
not
on.
What's your
busy.
question?
I'm
Oh,
very
shoot.
anxious.
You should be.
Right,
There's
okay, I just
thousands of
wanted to
people
say-
watching
I
and
have that
listening
effect
to you.
on people.
All right, stop making me nervous. I just wanted to say, I think Big Brother this year has been a bit of a stirrer. What Big Brother did this year is they put loads of people of different sort of, ideas and idealisms and all that. I'm not going to say the word. And what they did was they put people like George in on purpose, right, who is just somebody that is just like everybody else. He's got an opinion, he's got something to say, and he got kicked out because he has something to say. And that's what's going on in society today, right now.
And it ruins the show
That's
as well,
what's
doesn't it? Because you lose the good people.
Yeah, well, this is it. Thanks, Jane, for your support. I really appreciate it. You're very right, because if people are scared to touch those contentious subjects and, talk about stuff that will ruffle some feathers, what's the point of an
It's like a
entertainment show?
microcosm of society. Everyone's self-censoring themselves.
Well, I'm a big fan of Big Brother because it brands itself as a social experiment with a plethora of different personalities from both sides of the political spectrum, urban, rural, young, old. I love it. That's where I thrive. So I was being myself. I want to, it is an entertainment show. It's always at the back of your head. So you want to make good viewing. And I was doing that. I've had over 1,000 direct messages of people taking time out of their day to acknowledge how amazing I am. And it's a real honour. So thank you, Jane. And you're spot on, because we do need to normalise debate, as if we don't do that, then
You can't just have
I don't think we've got a
one-side
democracy.
bias, can
Last
you?
time I checked.
Anyway, we've got to take a little break. If you want to speak to George Gilbert, the redhead who was kicked out for controversial...
Hucknall.
We've gone through a few of them. There's loads more, and we'll find out why he actually was wrestled to the ground and hogtied out of there.
Let's do it.
In 2 minutes, yeah. Come back.
across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
OK, in this segment, we're going to put everybody who wants to call through to George Gilbert, who was thrown off Big Brother for making some just pretty mundane remarks that sound
saying, yeah, things
relatively sensible to me. But let's do it straight away. Steve in Walsall, you're through to George.
Good evening.
Hi, Steve.
I've been watching the programme, and the talk about Adolf Hitler was mentioned, being an evil man. Yes, we all know about that. The Holocaust was unbelievable.
Are you on the speakerphone? Can you use your hand?
George can't hear at all, though, so that we've got technical
has George not got any earpieces? Oh,
he has got an earpiece.
I've got an earpiece, I just can't hear that. I heard Jane.
Okay.
Let's go to Heather.
Steve, we will come back to you. Let's go to Heather. Go on.
Sort this out. Heather.
Hello, George.
No, it's not happening at all.
We'll translate. We'll ask you. Go on, Heather.
What's your opinion on this Birmingham, where you can't walk in certain areas, like no-go areas?
What is that for George? I mean, have you been watching Big Brother, Heather?
Okay, so she's asking. Put Heather down. Having watched the interview so far, she's phoned up to ask your opinion on Aston Villa. It happens every now and again. But that idea of banning Jewish people from that part of Birmingham.
Oh, it's disgraceful. It shouldn't be happening in this day and age anywhere in the world. We are probably one of the most equality-driven countries in the world, one would argue.
Yeah.
Now, this shouldn't be happening here. The fact that a sitting member of parliament is proud that it's happening.
Stirring up a fascist mob, effectively.
Get him gone, yeah. He doesn't represent what Britain should be about. What are British values? Tolerance, democracy, politeness. This man doesn't represent.
It's interesting.
Exactly.
It's interesting that what you're saying. It's interesting that what you're saying is offensive, but you know when an Islamic preacher goes to mosque and says all Jews, gay people, and Christians are pigs and dogs, that's perfectly fine.
Gets off scot-free.
It's Islamophilia.
It is totally.
Can you? Let's see if you can hear Heather now. Heather.
Well, everybody should have a right to walk wherever they want to walk. Everybody should have a right to walk in every town, in every city, every street across the land. It's our freedom to walk wherever we want to walk. It's like freedom of speech. We should be entitled to have our minds being speaking. It's right to speak your own mind. I mean, everybody should have a right to speak their own rights and have their own rights being heard.
Exactly.
And speak their own minds, because that's what freedom of speech.
And what did you think about George's appearance on Big Brother, Heather? What did you think about?
Who invented the skit?
Yeah. What did you think about him on Big Brother?
Well,
you didn't watch it, did you, Heather?
No,
you didn't watch it, did you, Heather?
Heather, you raise a good point, because freedom of speech is, I'd argue, the core tenet of a democracy.
Quite right.
Now, if we don't have freedom of speech and can't ask
like
questions
a free press,
that I wouldn't even class as that offensive, I could have worded it better, but not that offensive.
But
if we can't do that, we don't have a democracy.
But aren't you being a little bit weak, because you've come on here and defended your choice of words when your choice of words was fine, really.
You got
You're just pretending,
well,
though,
I've
aren't
got
you?
to
You don't believe.
You
don't look at your face. You don't believe for one second.
I'm playing the game, all right? God, give me a break.
There's word in the gallery coming through, and they want me to ask you about this. Apparently, it's well known that you've not lost your virginity. Is that true?
True, yeah. Well, I've got something for you.
No, I'm only joking.
It is.
No, it's a very brave. You're a brave guy, to say it as well.
Yeah, well, I think that's a good, honourable. It's a lot more common than one might think. But I think men who lack purpose get distracted by pleasure. Now, people just want these cheap thrills. I'd be quite happy to go to my deathbed, having only slept and kissed, never had a first kiss just one woman.
Okay.
Because. Yeah, should we do that on air?
But I think.
I'm not
you're
interested
a very
in
strong,
these
brave guy to come out and just say that. I admire that.
But I think,
cheers, mate.
I think you're right, and I'll tell you why I think you're right. Because I believe that we've exchanged true happiness for consumerism. Right, in this world where we basically just say, well, you can't have a family, but you can order something from Amazon that'll be delivered tomorrow. You know, your family life's been taken away because everyone's working.
Yeah,
you know, we don't have real families anymore. I mean, I don't think the sex thing is directly the same effect, but I think it's part of the overall movement away from genuine happiness and towards fake consumerist happiness.
Well, largely, it's only since the 60s, the old liberation liberation movements where these things just become so normalised.
Yeah,
but that's gone backwards. Women's lib has gone backwards since really the Me Too movement.
Yeah.
They don't like that because women would say, "No, we're strong enough. We don't want to be the victims," and they made themselves.
Well,
the
back in the day, maybe a couple of hundred years ago now, but it was quite normal to only have sex after marriage. Now, back then, I think they had more standards, and
more
society
stamina.
was but it was.
Yeah, but the problem is
it
until
wasn't so
death.
cheap.
Exactly.
Now.
Exactly.
Until death do us part was an average of 10 years. I'm not joking.
Standards have gone down since 10, 20 years. You can see it.
Sign of the times, isn't
so
it?
what's the future? I mean, have you got an agent now who's getting you all these interviews and what? Because I know you were an actor. I saw that. That's originally.
Once I don't think they touched me
Why
in the
not? Because now
barge
you've got
pole
the platform. Now you.
Yeah, well, we all saw what happened to the likes of Lawrence Fox. I don't think.
Yeah, but apparently I think he won his case against being called a racist today, and so that'll be worth a lot of money because his acting career was ended.
Still, no TV, no film production will touch him with a barge pole. That's the
Correct.
sorry
And
state
do you think
of it
that will
is,
be a bit with you when they look you up? They'll go.
Yeah, well, do you know what? Is that what I'm passionate about still?
I don't know.
Or-
Is it?
Well, what's the next thing you want to do?
I've been toying with the idea. I did start YouTube
I think that's-
early this
yeah.
year.
You've got a lot of
my
the
mission
youth.
is to glorify rural Britain. No one my sort of
that'd
age
be
is
great.
making
Where are you?
content.
Where are you? Are you
Nobody's
from around
glorifying
Stansted?
rural Britain
Yeah.
apart from Clarkson's Farm, which is one of the biggest series.
Well, that's more just farm related. I'm talking history and national
that's nice.
identity.
That's
It is
great.
We need to
racist, though, isn't it? The
restore-
countryside. That's why you've got these views because the country's
Well, I
racist.
am a Nazi fascist, aren't I? So
that was a joke, by the way.
it bodes
I
well.
was joking.
Yeah, of course. But no, we need to restore national identity.
I agree with that.
And no one my sort of age is making content for people my sort
But
of
are
age.
the
And I think
people
there's a
who
gap in the
your
market
age who
for that.
support it?
Oh, the people,
a
the
growing
Reform are saying.
appetite,
There's a
I'm
lot
sure
of people
of
who Reform are saying actually he's got this wrong with the young voters. They're actually more right wing now, and guys
Yeah,
like you
well,
looking
it's-
at what your future, going, we need to go back to how it was.
Yeah, well, I think it's my generation's just very extreme. So you're either far left Corbynista,
Polarised,
or you're going to be
Decent,
what's extreme
patriotic,
now
honest
is-
people.
Based.
Because that's the opposite.
You're going to be some Tommy
I
Robinson
want to say
supporter,
this, Jude. You know, you
which
come on for the
seems
first time.
extreme.
We've had nowhere near enough time. So I want to say to you, if in your future that would include being one of our contributors, we'd love you to come on a regular
Cheers, mate.
basis because I
Yeah.
really do think you're absolutely superb. We've got more guests coming up in the next hour, or I'd keep you on simply because
yeah.
we've only scratched the surface.
We have, yeah.
Well,
Well, I
there's
know
a
I'd be
lot
more than
more
happy to come on
depth.
again, and thank you guys for having me. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
good, man.
Okay, well, look, that's George Gilbert, who is, I mean, he's both a free speech campaigner. He's also somebody who's really interested in the rural communities and traditions and histories of Britain.
Indeed.
I think it's a great person to have on the show. Okay.
And he looks like Elizabeth I.
Somebody said Ron Weasley wants his Hogwarts blazer back. That's it.
Oh,
I think that's a nice jacket.
It's
Nice,
yeah,
yeah.
cheers, mate. Yeah.
Okay, 03444991000 is the number to call. What are you going to do, Asher? Talk him up to the break.
Yeah, 03444991000. What we're doing next? Well, of course, it's going to be the James Whale clip again as we pay homage to James Whale. And do you remember our mate? Mike Mendoza. Mike Mendoza. Well, he's been sacked for being too fat as Santa. How can he be too fat for being Santa? We'll find out after the news in a couple of minutes.
All right.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Well, some greats of British history get statues, some get plaques, some get big paintings, but we think it's appropriate that James Whale gets a memorial which befits him, and that is that we play a clip from the back catalogue every Friday night at 11 o'clock, and as with every week, Asher Gould will introduce it.
And yet again, I mean, this is another one of him throwing out a guest. They seem to have a thing, because he didn't always throw out guests. We will get some other ones on. I don't even remember this one. It was so short. Apparently, this is the shortest one in history. And this was last year, and the great James Whale clashed with Patrick McGuinness. We did have Paddy McGuinness on one. No lackey, no lackey. No laddie, no laddie. I
thought you meant Patrick McGee, the bomber of Brighton, but no, it's not him.
Wasn't he Steed in the Avengers? No. So he clashed with Patrick McGuinness, from the National Housing Party, in one of his shortest ever interviews. Let's have a look at it.
Patrick McGuinness, I have to confess that's the first time I've seen that. So you are a pillock, but you're here in the studio.
How many refugees will you take in your house, James?
None.
Right, so where are they going to go, all these refugees?
So don't start on me. You said you have a solution. So what is the solution?
Do you support Nigel Farage?
I don't have any political persuasion.
You don't support Reform UK?
But they want to stop the refugees.
No, they don't.
They do.
No, they don't.
You're talking. Can we shut up for a minute, Ash? Or you can.
How many refugees would you take in your house, Ash?
About 3 or 4.
Yeah,
right,
he's got loads of room.
So you're part of the problem.
So,
sorry, man.
What is the solution?
Stop accepting refugees for citizenship. Make it clear to the world no more refugees should be coming to this country. 3-year prison sentence for illegal entry after we've left the 1951 Refugee Convention. Once they go to prison, they stay in prison until they find their documents to leave the country after their sentence. They can get out of the sentence.
And you're a political party, are you?
Yes.
How many MPs have you got?
I go knocking on doors.
How many MPs do you have?
I am a local... Look, you're an anti-white knuckle dragger. I go knocking on doors...
Right, out, now.
Why is that?
Out.
No.
Come and get him and do it now, quickly. I want you out.
Listen, I'm not going to be talking to you like that. You're talking to me like I'm an idiot.
You are an idiot. Go.
You're an anti-white knuckle dragger.
You are an idiot. You get this guy on my show, you're going to get in trouble. Get him out.
You know why...
Get him out.
They've got off on the wrong foot.
Go.
They've got off.
I'm seriously, I don't want to hear. Turn his microphone off.
Right?
So I can't
for
hear
local
him.
elections.
Take this man out of the studio.
What about Ukrainians? We took them in.
Take it.
We shouldn't be giving citizenship to any refugees.
They would have been killed. They would have been killed.
We should not be giving citizenship
will you shut
to
up?
any refugees.
I got the Jews in the Second World War.
The reason they're flooding across the channel is because we accept refugees for citizenship.
Now look what you've done.
Reform UK.
OK, I want to ask you, Asher.
Yeah, I do remember that. I remember
when that happened,
he was sitting there.
Was he actually angry, or was it serious?
Well, no, I mean James was before he studied acting at Rep Theatre, and he was a method actor. So he said Cars, Doctor Who, Nicholas Parsons, and so he would actually get into this frame of mind where he'd use the method. So he would actually get genuine. I mean, the guy called him a white knuckle dragger, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Which he did have white knuckles, to be fair.
By the way, I just want to say that we get people contacting us from overseas. Somebody's been in touch from Tel Aviv. They've sent us quite a long message talking about the ways that Israelis are targeted. You know, we would love you to get in touch. We can't see on the screen, for GDPR reasons, what your phone number is, but if you phone...
Oh, his name's... Mira.
Sorry, it took Asher to read that because it's in Hebrew. Yeah. I mean, look, or you can text in your phone number. You can phone 03444991000, or you can send your phone number in on WhatsApp. But we'd love to talk to you if you are a fan of football from Israel. It'd be great if you could get in touch, and indeed other people who have contacted us from across the world. If you're worried about your phone bill, obviously we phone you back, which is not so much of an issue in the UK, but a much bigger issue if you're phoning internationally. Anyway, what's up next, Asher?
Right, well, next is an old friend of mine, and he used to do the overnight show. He'd follow me and James Well, and sometimes when he wasn't in time, I'd do his handover. I'd go, don't go away, enjoy join me after the news on Talk Sport. Zero. And actually, it ended up on Clips of the Week because I messed up the timings and they thought it was actually him. Yes, of course, it's Mike Mendoza.
Hello.
Well, he was a damn fine chap, wasn't he? I don't know.
Hi, Mike.
Where's he gone?
Now,
okay, should we just explain?
Let's explain. He's dressed as Father Christmas because he did play Father Christmas. He was an impersonator, and he's been sacked for being too fat. Are you denying that you were too fat, or just that it's...
I deny it. I either deny it or admit it.
But how can Father Christmas be too fat? It's all part of the thing.
Well, that's what I always thought. And then I suddenly saw a photograph of my backside hanging out of these trousers.
Can you put your outfit on, actually? Can you put the beard and everything on?
I will a bit later on for you.
Thanks, man.
So I'm looking at this. Obviously, Father Christmas can't get round absolutely everywhere in the run-up to Christmas, and therefore the impersonators are needed at various places. You were working in Windsor, presumably quite near where I live. And the gear that you've bought looks the part.
Fantastic.
You really do look like Father Christmas. And in fact, actually, if I walked past you in the street dressed like that, I would believe you were the real Father Christmas. You know why I'm saying all this, don't you, Mike? And so,
yes.
obviously, now we want to discuss why you were sacked as a Father Christmas impersonator.
Yes.
Right, okay, this is where it's different, you see, because I wasn't going to wear this gear. This is my gear that I wear, and I've been wearing this for the last few years. I've got several outfits. I've been doing the Father Christmas bit for the last 10, 15 years. Yeah. And it was rather strange. I joined Lapland UK, which are based, as you know...
Is that lap dancing club you used to go to, is it?
Well, you know, we kept that quiet, Ash. That's where you and I used to take me when I was younger.
I remember that. Disgraceful.
Yeah, and... yeah, so what happened was, you see, I decided I'd join Lapland this year, and they got their own uniform, which is nothing like this at all. It's not traditional at all.
So it's the like bunny tails and the high heels?
No, that's the other place we're talking about.
I'm getting mixed up.
No, this is the Lederhausen's that cut the...
I'm getting you in more trouble now, aren't I? Yeah, sorry.
Well, my wife doesn't, at least she's asleep at the moment, so it's quite safe.
That's good.
Whichever wife I'm with this year. Anyway, so it's yes, as I was saying, so they got their own outfit, you see. So they had all my measurements, and the whole thing starts next week. So I go along to the wardrobes, as they call it, and I do all my fittings. I think this is a bit tight, all this stuff, and that's fair enough. And I said, you've got all my measurements. How come this is so tight? Anyway, so they said, fine, you look wonderful, and we'd love you to do all the bits and pieces you're here for. The next time I got a letter just a few days ago, and bearing in mind I start on Tuesday, I got an email 2 days ago to say, regrettably, the outfit you've got doesn't fit you properly, and we're not prepared to spend money on buying a new outfit for you, which is a bit weird. So therefore we fired you.
Is it a roundabout way of firing you, basically? It's like our calling Big Ken when they got sacked for the bus driver.
But hang on, just to be clear, you have been a Father Christmas impersonator for years. The uniform that you've bought there is clearly quite... I don't know whether they're expensive or well-made, but either way, I would believe you were the real Father Christmas if I saw you. So what they're saying is, the crummy uniform that we've got doesn't fit you because you're too fat to be Father Christmas. Hard to know where that's going. And we won't let you wear your own uniform because we want you to wear the old rubbish we've bought. What on earth are they doing? I mean, is this an attempt to pretend that Father Christmas is a skinny guy?
Yeah.
Funny you should say that, because there's a WhatsApp group amongst the Father Christmases for Ascot. Another chap came on the other night before I got chucked off because I made a comment. The other chap said I thought body shaming was illegal, and I said why? He said because they said I'm too thin and I've got to wear a fat suit, and I said that's a bit weird because I've been told I'm too fat and I've got to go.
So you need that Goldilocks weight to get the job there, but it's a way of getting rid of you, isn't it? That's just a roundabout way of getting rid of you.
Exactly. Well, that's what it seemed like. Although they did offer to pay me off. They paid me 5 days' money plus a fitting fee, whereas I would have worked for 70. How many hours did I do? About 35 days. 8-hour days, so you work out how many hours that is, and I've lost about 10-15 grand.
But here's the problem, Mike. Here's the problem. You know, it is unfair on kids because there is only one Father Christmas and he can't make it to all the shopping centres and all the grottos and whatever. So we do need all these impersonators. But you know, I remember when I went to see these Father Christmas impersonators, you know, the really good ones really got you in the mood for Christmas. Obviously, Mum and Dad would pretend it was the real Father Christmas. We know it wasn't, but okay, fine. But little kids would enjoy all that. And to lose an experienced Father Christmas. And you said it was actually in Windsor Great Park that you were going to do it. That's a real shame.
Yes, in fact. Well, especially for Prince Andrew as well, you know, it was all organised for him. So.
You should go down the Pizza Express down there. He's down there. But the thing is, you actually, I bet you did a really good job because you come from a great lineage of actors of Peter Sellers. He was your uncle, wasn't he? And I can see now with you, he was your cousin. But you were in the disguise now, and you remind me your face of when Peter Sellers used to put. You're a bit like a fat Peter Sellers, aren't you? So maybe that's. You should become a Sellers impersonator. Do you know what I mean? But I bet you were really good at the character acting as well, weren't you? At being Father Christmas.
Well, yes, it's funny you say that, yeah. I mean, I do the I-360 in Brighton, which is that tower down on the seafront where pod that goes up and down. Yeah. And I was doing that for quite a few years, and I'm doing that again now this year. And I'm not just an ordinary Father Christmas. I'm not an ordinary Santa. I entertain the kids, you know. I tell them stories. I do magic tricks. I get them really involved in, the whole thing.
The other thing I want to ask you is this ludicrous situation about sitting on the knee of Father Christmas. I think
you can't sit on Mike's knee, not in his condition.
I understand. I mean, I just feel like that was part of it, and the whole, you know, you can't get the proper photo sitting on Father Christmas's knee and all this. I just think that talks to a world where we're so suspicious of absolutely everybody, and also I think there's nothing wrong with saying that you enjoy that interaction. You think that interaction's good. It's the way that the adults are meant to treat children.
Well, actually, I do have children of my knee.
You've got about 23 children, I remember.
Well, I keep trying about
that you know about.
Yeah, I know about it, that's for sure. No, but seriously, I do that thing. I'm DBS checked, so I'm police checked. I've got no criminal record whatsoever, contrary to British demand. I've never stopped having children by knee.
Yeah.
Oh, really? You never have?
Just looks at a woman and she gets pregnant.
Most parents want to put their kid on your knee. I'll tell you something. I was Father Christmas in Malta 4 years ago.
That's a great honor, that is.
Well, for the Maltese government, it was fantastic.
The Maltese.
Well, actually, Father Christmas there is a bit like the Pope, and we saw more adults than we did kids. And I'll tell you a very quick story about how serious they take this.
You didn't bounce them on your knee, though, did you?
It was
the best thing about the Pope, by the way, in my view, is that he's got a fuse on the top of his head. I'd love to light the fuse and see what actually happens.
He wears a yarmulke.
This woman sat on my lap and she said to me, I said, "What would you like for Christmas?" And she said to me, "I want a baby." And I said, "Well, I'm a bit busy at the moment. You come and see me a bit later, you know, sort something out." Anyway, so after about 3 or 4 women doing the same thing, I realised that these women wanted babies. You know, they were infertile.
They wanted your celebrity sperm. That was what it was, fertilisation, yeah.
Well, it used to be yours.
Did you give them their wish?
No, of course not.
No.
I'm a bona fide, very serious. I'm a very bona fide, very serious Father Christmas. Oh boy.
Naughty Santa.
Exactly. I remember you and your little child.
I know you did. Well, actually, you know some of my mum's friends in Brighton. Well, tell us about Brighton, because that's changed a lot. You live. By the way, if you need a Father Christmas in the area, he's available for hire now, and he's a proper one. He doesn't need any padding. He can do it properly. But yeah, what's going on in Brighton with it? Because you were a councillor, weren't you? And now you're with Reform, I think. If a couple of decades ago, you were a councillor. What are you seeing in Brighton? Because that's totally changed, hasn't it? Since I used to go.
Brighton itself is very disappointing. In fact, I'm a place called Shoreham by Sea.
Yeah.
They had the air crash there, of course.
Yeah. You used to present the air show, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, literally. And I was there sadly the day of the crash, which was awful. I worked for a TV channel down here as well. Yes, I joined Reform. Yes, so I'm not sure if I meant to admit that at all.
No, it's all right. We're not in any period. So you're going to run for council in what? In Sussex, East Sussex, or is that what you're going to do?
Well, you know, East Sussex and West Sussex, of course, keep cancelling these elections.
That's
so
right.
They're going to do an 8 or 9 year term the way they're going.
It's a disgrace to democracy, though.
It's total. There's no democracy whatsoever. But Ada and Worthing, which are the two areas in West Sussex, hopefully there will elections be taking place in May of next year. Unless, of course, they try and cancel. They're trying to cancel them again now. So we'll just have to see what happens.
Now,
But Brighton itself is becoming a horrible place to live.
Why?
Well, actually on the nail there about anti-Semitism, of course, is rife. The council itself are taking in an awful lot of asylum seekers, as have Worthing, but Ada.
I'm quite surprised by that, Mike, because what I would have expected was the liberal lefty LGBT type people. I would have expected to want Britain to take in a lot of asylum seekers, but not put their money where their mouth is and have them in their actual area. Did you see Question Time the other week, where they were going on about how it was a disgrace that Robert Jenrick had complained that parts of Birmingham had no white people from a place that was 99% white?
Well, yes. I mean, you can't. Yeah, I don't watch Question Time. Actually,
no one does.
I hate it since it's changed. I think Question Time's about the worst programme on BBC.
You've got No Brainer Rainer moving in down by you, you know. So are you looking forward?
We saw her move.
Well, yeah, because I heard a couple of months before through my mum's friends network. You know that she was looking at a flat there. Yeah. So you excited about that? It wasn't you that scrawled on the wall, was it?
No, not me. No. But I did see her moving. And the marks are still there.
Now, obviously, you didn't. You know, it was often a lot of. We saw James Whale there throwing people out, and you had a strange, you know, love-hate relationship, didn't you? Because he was always very sort of. He's like a terrier with any other presenters, and you'd come in overnight and. But what was your thoughts about the great James Whale? You know, I haven't spoken to you for many years. What were your thoughts about James?
Well, James and I always got on very, very well, didn't we? We've never had an argument.
Not really, yeah.
And we didn't. He used to call me. Used to call Bouffant heads walked in for some reason because my hair was a lot more than he's got. He
didn't like
not saying much.
Yeah. No, he had a good thick head of hair, didn't you, Mike? Yeah.
Yes, I'm afraid so. Yes, and I still have underneath this. You can see how long it is. But no, I always got on very well with James. I was very, very sad when I heard he was sick. I contacted him several times, and sadly I couldn't make the funeral. But it was a lovely, lovely man. Really was.
Yeah, he certainly was. And so are you doing any more... I mean, you were a big TV star, wasn't it, in New Zealand back in the 70s?
More radio than television. Yeah, I did a bit of soap operas, didn't I? Yes, I forgot about that. Yes, I did some soap opera in Australia and New Zealand. But of course, I'm doing TV down in the South Coast.
What's that? What are you doing in Brighton? Some TV cable station or something?
No, it's not cable. It's
X Girls or something like that, is it?
No, it's called
Mike Mendoza's Blue Movies.
Sorry, what? Sorry, Mike. What is the channel?
Say again.
What is the channel that you're doing in Brighton?
He's got no idea. Latest TV.
Latest TV, which is where your mate Chuck was there, an originator of it as well, would you believe?
I used to work with Chucky, did you?
Yes, indeed. It is a local community station.
Oh, in fact, he's still going. I mean, you must be here to 80 or something now. You're like
leave off you. Yeah, I'm older than James was, that's for sure. But they just been renewed for another 10 years. The only channel in the whole country that's been renewed.
And what sort of programmes do you have on it?
It's all local content, plus a little bit of non-local. We got talking pictures on there as well, just to fill in a few hours. But it's just news items, a lot of community items as well, and it's worked really, really well.
Oh well, look, it's been great seeing you, Mike. And you know, if I'm down Brighton, I'll come and we'll have to have a coffee or something when I'm down there, man.
Yes, but you still go to Eastbourne, do you?
I do every now and then. I'll pop down Eastbourne, you know, relax a bit, get down there. So yeah, it's not far from there, is it, where you are? So maybe I'll get down. By the way, did Peter Sellers write you into his will? He didn't write his children in. Did you get any money from Peter Sellers' estate? You always ask a tough question at the end. And we'll never know. There is Mike Mendoza. He's keeping stum about it. He's probably loaded from the Peter Sellers estate.
No, it's broke. It's
oh,
broken
you're there,
up at
yeah.
that
Oh,
moment.
he's there, right. Yeah. Go on. You were pretending there, weren't you?
What was that?
Did you? Well, what I asked was, you know, because you were related to Peter Sellers, you know, notoriously he didn't leave his kids in the will. Did you get left in the will with any of the Peter Sellers estate?
Not even an acknowledgement, not even a hello, how are you, or whatever.
Oh dear.
But I say his daughter does live down in Rottingdean.
Oh, right, OK, so you're still in touch with the family. That's good, man.
Yeah.
Well, he's not in touch with the family, he's part of it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's good, yeah. Well, you know, somebody look at the Markles. Anyway, look, Mike, it was great to see you, and give us a ring, 0344, if you want to talk about anything, 499 1000. We're going to talk about the papers. We've got loads of other stuff, whatever you want to talk about. It's Andre and Ash, at Andre JP Walker.
At Virtual Ash.
And we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Oh, right.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
This is Talk, and they always say that the best jokes in the world are the ones that you make up in your head. With that in mind, we're not going to read out all the messages related to Mike being sacked as Santa in Windsor Great Park that relate to Prince Andrew. We're just not going to read them out, right? But there are many, and you know where they're all going.
He's been offered a job as hamburger.
You know where they're all going, right? Okay, the thing I do want to talk about, and perhaps ask Asher about this, because it's only just... broken in the Telegraph. Okay, so the chief executive of Birmingham City Council, Joanne Toney, has been accused of anti-Semitism. She's one of the people who will have advised Aston Villa that they can't have Tel Aviv supporters. She apparently called a chap called Ben Rose, who isn't Jewish but happens to represent Orthodox landowners. She accused him of being a massive Jewish bellend, apparently, and to put that language into a comment about somebody, I think is completely unacceptable. Apologies, by the way, for the language, but it's a direct quote of what she is accused of saying in the Daily Telegraph. And for her to have moved into Birmingham City Council for this problem to have arisen, I think is unacceptable. By the way, I probably should have warned you about the bad language before I did it, and apologies to the gallery.
But it shows what's going on in Birmingham. It shows why we're in this situation. It's actually, she's given a great example. Right, let's talk to Phil in Worthing. It's going to be all your calls now till 1, so we've got loads of you on. Give us a ring and we'll get you on. Phil.
Yeah, Andre, brother, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, how are you?
And I'm very well, and thank you for your support over this last couple of days. By the way, Ash, I've got to be honest, Ash, I am so in support of you, mate, because this just shows what Birmingham City Council is all about, mate. My home council in Birmingham, my God, the second biggest city in the second most powerful nation on the planet. What are we doing?
And it's coming to a city near you. That's advance warning. So that's the second biggest city, as you say, and you can see it happening in lots of other cities.
You're the greatest. And Ash, you personally, Ash, you're a Villa fan from Birmingham.
I used to go to Villa all the time in the 80s and the 70s.
Yeah, well, I did, mate, and I'm not even welcome in my home city anymore, because you walk around the streets, you feel like it's a different country, mate.
Well, it is really, isn't it? It's a different culture.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to say that, but it's probably true.
Well, no, it is true, because I was looking at the demographics, and the white population, the Birmingham population, is all on the outskirts. If you go on all the inner circle, it's like 5%, literally.
Is it?
5 down to 5%.
I'm going to get the demographics of Birmingham so we can read that out.
Yeah.
Ash, in 1970, the population, the Pakistani population of Birmingham, no disrespect at all to any Pakistanis listening this evening, was 7,700. Now it's 335,000.
And this is what's happening, and it's, you know, obviously affects councils, it affects policing, and also obviously they get promoted ahead of people, so this does change the actual cultures of areas.
Ash, I don't want anyone to accuse me of race, because I'm not. I'm from Birmingham. We welcome everybody, the same as London. London's a great city for that as well. We do the best we can, don't we, Ash? You know that, Ash. You know, and I'm so proud of you, Ash. And I will support you, Ash, for the rest of my days, mate.
Thank you, Phil.
So, okay, this is quite interesting.
Here's the data.
So remember what Asher said. There are people on the outskirts of Birmingham who are from Birmingham, and then obviously within the inner circle, it's slightly different.
A lot.
This is for the whole of Birmingham, including both areas. So that's both areas, which is the white and the Asian areas. Okay. Yes. So 48.7% of people are white, which is 43% is white British. However, 31% are Asian, and that's Pakistani 17, Indian 5, Bangladeshi 4, 10% black. And so effectively, what you were talking about is the two biggest ethnic groups at 31% and rising. So actually, even notwithstanding what you said, even that if you put the white area in with the non-white area, the tribal areas, then you are still looking at fairly quickly, so it not being a majority British city, but fairly quickly it becoming a predominantly Pakistani city.
It's never been a problem, Andre. And Andre, I appreciate your statistical analysis, which is, as always, fantastic. Thank you, buddy. It's just, at the end of the day, on the streets of Birmingham, it's difficult because there are so many nice people, 1 million nice people, and it's just difficult when you're an English guy to say, hi, remember me? You know, it's so difficult, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's gone, hasn't it? That's sort of the way, you know, you would act with each other, things that you'd say to each other that you'd know what it meant, whereas if you say it to someone who's not used to it, they might get offended, do you know what I mean? So it's those little things that all add up, and then it sort of doesn't feel like home anymore.
But if we talk about culture, and we talk about cultural appropriation, we talk about cultural eradication, I always say, so I used to live in the East End of London. I'm not a Cockney, as you can hear from my accent. But it seems to me that when I think about the East End now, I don't think of the whelk sellers. I don't think of the synagogues. I don't think of Jack the Ripper and Petticoat Lane. I think of Brick Lane and the Lahore Kebab House and and look for ramen. I think the East End is Bangladeshi now. And if you were to think of a true East Ender, you wouldn't think of a Cockney, you would think of a Bengali.
Where's the next Jack the Ripper going to come from? Oh, no, we don't.
The last thing I was going to say before I leave this evening, Ash, you're a great man. I love you, Ash. We all love you. I've been watching you for 2 years. And by the way, Merry Christmas to everybody, because the first time I stopped drinking is when I watched Andre and Danielle on a Christmas Eve. I haven't had a drop since. How about that?
Oh, wow, that's...
Well, you want to get a bottle out, don't you?
No, he's an alcoholic.
No, don't.
You know,
it's an alcoholic.
So nice.
Don't film
you know, the greatest TV channel in the world. You look after the real people. You care about the real people. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks to Chuck as well. I think he's from Birmingham as well.
He is, yeah.
God bless you,
well,
Chuck.
Solihull.
There we go.
Cheers.
I think he was drunk, wasn't he? You know, when they say, oh, you're my best mate and all that.
Okay, well, you can call us 0344 499 1000. What about the Chief Executive of Birmingham City Council? We won't repeat the comment directly, but what I will say is that she has been accused of anti-Semitism, abusing somebody that she perceived to be Jewish, a guy called Ben Rose, a property developer in Manchester who works and represents Orthodox Jewish people. Now,
but wasn't even Jewish.
No, I imagine with a name like Ben Rose, she thought he was.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we haven't, whether he's a bellend or not is yet to be discovered. But
well, that was the word
not.
I wasn't going to repeat.
Yeah, don't say that.
For God's sake.
Just means the end of a bell. Anyway, should we take a little break at this juncture? We'll take a break. It will be Grace, Paula, Pete, Mark, Martin, Adi, Cindy, Janice, Angie, Steve, and you 2034449911000. You can leave us a voice message, a voicio for us on WhatsApp if you're a bit scared. It's Talks Andre and Ash, and we'll be back in a jiffy.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is Talk. I just want to remind you of how you can leave us a voice message, because Asher did remind you to do it, and I'd completely forgotten that we haven't done that in a little while.
Yeah,
so you just put in your phone, put it in right now, 0344 499 1000, and then you just put it in as Talk, and then it will work on at WhatsApp. You can send a message, you can send a voicemail. What I personally would do if I wasn't a presenter is anytime you hear something interesting on Talk, just get your phone, send a quick message, and most of them will get played out. The reason is because it's so easy for the producers to edit it and use it.
It's good quality as well. Keep it snappy, you know, get your point out, and we'll get it on air.
Absolutely. Okay, who are we going to next? Adi in Blackpool. Adi, you're on Talk.
Adi.
All right.
Adi.
Hiya, you okay?
We're all right, man. What's going on, Adi? In Blackpool?
Yeah, well, every time that I want to speak to you, after watching you, I have about another 50 things that I want to speak about.
Well, go for it, man. Go for it. Get it out. Better out than in.
But Adi, remember something. If you send in a voice message, it can be used by other shows and randomly played out. So even if you've spoken to us on the show, please do voice messaging. It's no problem.
Yeah, totally. But I've spoke to you a couple of times in the last month, and one thing from before when you were showing James Wales, I know I've said this before, I'm the idiot that called that Missy Swizzles, if you remember.
Oh, yeah, Missy, yeah.
Swizzles. I think Swizzles was a better name.
Yeah, it's a good name, man.
I do. But the way Jane dealt with that chap was the way... Andre, you dealt with him, hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely.
The best TV ever. But one thing that's just come up, what you said about that person who said that about the Aston Villa thing, what an absolute disgrace. And also as well, with what's just happened in the last few days, what sensitivity of these people.
You mean the Manchester synagogue attack?
No, with the
with the Aston Villa thing, yeah,
and everything, and all the. No, what I mean, Ash, is the hostages and everything.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, they're gutted about that. They're gutted about the peace because they can't. You know, they don't know what to protest about anymore. Do you know what I mean? They'll think of something.
Well, they protested anyway, didn't they?
Yeah, they still protest.
Well, Ash, may I say? you know, where are they going on about the Christians being persecuted?
They don't care. No Jews, no news. They don't care about the Uyghur Muslims. They don't care about the Rohingya Muslims, the Sudanese, the Nigerian Christians. No one. What about what's going on in Syria, where they're just executing Druze and Christians there, ethnic cleansing, actually genocide going on?
Yeah,
you know, we know what's going on.
I mean, that's the interesting thing. Just to dovetail on to what Asher said, because what you've got here is you've got the IDF, rightly or wrongly, going into Gaza trying to eliminate Hamas. Right now, you can argue whether that was a good idea or not, or whatever you want to do. That's fine. You can argue whether it worked or it didn't work. It doesn't bother me.
Well, they're all dead.
It's not a genocide. A genocide is when you specifically wipe people out and try and remove them from a particular area. There are genocides going on. I think you can argue that Uyghur is a genocide. Rohingya was definitely a genocide, and of course the Nigerian Christians. But the reality is, they're not interested, and I think it's a combination of two reasons. So first of all, you cannot say people are just Islamophiliac, simply because in the case of the Rohingya and the Uyghurs, it's the Muslims that are the victims. Yeah. I just think it's not that they love Islam, because they don't. It's not that they love President Xi of China. They love anything that denigrates the West, anything that denigrates freedom, anything that denigrates democracy, anything that denigrates capitalism, property rights, rule of law, the family, Christianity, anything. The central aim is to bring in global socialism, which won't work, by the way.
That's the leftists doing that. But what happened in Iran is they all get executed by the Islamists in the end.
Funnily enough, that was exactly what I was going to say. When they attempted this unholy alliance between radical Islam and the left, what happened was the Ayatollah Khomeini just killed all the lefties. So the end result of it, and by the way, you're not empowering nice people from the Muslim community. You're encouraging the worst ones, and every community, every society has bad people. If the left win, if Jeremy Corbyn wins, your children and grandchildren will be walking around with burqas. Fact. It won't happen immediately, but it is a fact nonetheless.
But also, Andre, may I say, you know, out of all the different, you know, I told you before, I worked for a Jewish company. They were amazing. You never hear any issues from, you know, Koreans, Chinese, Indian. You know,
I think I have to pull you up on. Listen, AD, I like you very much, but to say in terms of imperialism and settling, there are no issues with the Chinese.
Yeah, but that's the Chinese state, not the actual old Chinese communities that have been here for.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
Yeah,
but
no, that's what I mean. I'm not denigrating. I'm not dissing anyone. I'm just saying.
If you look at what happened when the Roman Empire contracted, what happened was migrants from across the empire arrived in Rome. Took all of its assets, run it into the ground, and the thing fell apart. They even took the Colosseum down.
And Rome had become weak, like we become weak. They just become nothing.
So it's not unusual for an empire, when it collapses, to be in this state, which is basically now the waifs and the strays from across the empire turn up in order to pillage what's left of it. And I think that's what's happening here.
No. But where I'm trying to go with this, Andre, is I went for a meal with my daughter. She's in her 20s, and she's very left. Yeah. So
sorry to hear that.
We were having a good chat, and she actually said, "Oh, you know that thing you were on about with 300, where they beat the Persians and all this lot, and that's the only battle they ever won." And I was like, Simone, I'm not talking about that. I'm saying that and this is a fact, and I said to her, this is a fact. Every civilization has gone up and up and up and up with strong men and strong women behind them, and every time they get to the top, they're twiddling their thumbs, they start coming up with ridiculous things, and it goes down.
They get weak, basically.
Think that's where we are.
They get weak in their power and their ease of life.
You see it all the time. There's the yin and yang, isn't there? In the days of the British Empire, you never would have had a COVID lockdown because if you like the jet setting people, obviously describing somebody as jet setting in the British Empire period is a bit weird, but you know what I mean. The go-getters, they were in in charge. Now what's in charge is are the bureaucrats and the safe people and the risk-averse people and the people who say, hey, look, there's a fabulous new British brewing industry that's taken, 30 years to come about after the removal of the tied houses, that is pubs tied to breweries. It's taken 30 years to build that. Let's now start taxing them to death. It's those sorts of people.
But also, they say hard times breed strong men and easy times breed weak men and people,
Ash,
and that's where we're at.
You're so right there, and that's why I said last time I phoned, I said from the Tony Blair era, they've taken a long run up, a really long run up. They've done the best, and I still say they've absolutely failed.
And there's the feminisation of men, which is all this, that is what happened, and that's where we've begun. And now this is why young men and women, we had one in the studio, a virgin, although it's for other reasons, but they're not, guys are now scared to do anything.
I think what the trans movement and whatever has done to this country has been a good thing. My 8-year-old nephew,
niece now,
8-year-old nephew has self-defined as a pirate. We gouged his eye out. We amputated his leg. We taught him how to say "arr," and we gave him a wooden leg. And we've now drawn on a nice moustache for him. And so now he can be a pirate.
Well, Andre, I've also said, right, and this is a fact, if you were a bloke who...
I am a bloke. Let's just be clear. Let's nip that one in the bud, Adi.
If you were on an operating table and a doctor said, right, I'm going to do something now, it'll mean this if you're a bloke or this if you're a woman, you'd say straight away, this is what I am. Now, I'm not even interested in that bit, but what I am interested in is... what I was saying about this long run-up is that I feel as though, hopefully, and again, I keep talking to the youngsters, I just hope that they're listening. I'm not saying everything I'm saying is right or what you're saying is right, but there's got to be common sense.
Well, I think what is inevitable in society, if you think about it, the greatest, and I take this to an extreme example, the greatest insult you can offer to a 5-year-old is to claim they're a 4-year-old. So it is just inevitable that a child, when it's born, aspires to grow up. That is the number one aspiration of a child. And so it's inevitable that what happens to me, and indeed Ash, is we get older and the kids get younger and the kids take over and they have their own ideas about how they can do it better than us. And I think the hope that we would have and you would have is that the next generation do it better than us. But I think what's also happened is that we live now in a society where we don't respect the knowledge. So ultimately,
the elders,
there has to be two sides to it. There has to be the thrust and the ambition of youth, but it has to be tempered with the knowledge and the grounding of older people, and that was fundamentally the Greta Thunberg problem. Not a problem that she cared very deeply about the environment, but that nobody else had an opinion.
But also, it's the Tony Blair problem. We used to always have older prime ministers, and there was a scientific study came out because people used to say, "Oh, your brain goes downhill after 50, 60." That's actually been proven wrong. You actually get wiser and wiser. Sometimes you're slower in reactions, but actually you get wiser and wiser, and so the elders. It's all this obsessed with youth. We've got to have Greta Thunberg, we've got to have Tony Blair as Prime Minister when he's 40 odd, you know what I mean? And we've lost the wisdom and people who've been through it all and just are generally, I mean, when you think about yourself as 18 and then you think about yourself as 30 and 40, you become much wiser. I mean, maybe not me, but you do become wiser as you get older and older.
But you couldn't have done this job aged 18, could you? I couldn't have.
No, I mean, well, I was 24, but you wouldn't do it the same. You wouldn't.
Yeah, but you were a co-host age 24.
You just wouldn't have had the life experience, and also, you're hormonally all different as well. I mean, you're totally different.
Oh, hormones!
Hormones!
I remember those.
Lactating.
I remember those.
Thanks, Adi.
Adi, thanks so much. Also, thank you so much to the person that sent in the demographic data from Nelson in Lancashire. There's a particular central belt of well, it's not a belt, is it, if it's central? A central district of Nelson, which is 83% Asian, which is a remarkable
Well, that's like
figure.
Birmingham. I mean, in the centre, it was literally 5. Well, you saw Handsworth. I mean, that is literally about 5%, and there's a lot of areas in the centre that are like that now. Anyway, we take a little break at this juncture, and we'll be back with all your calls after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
OK, loads of people getting in touch, obviously, about Aston Villa. You know, some people saying we should deploy the IDF on the streets. But just to be clear, we can't allow the Israeli Defence Force a foreign military force.
They did used to be at the airports in the 80s, though. I remember them there when we didn't have counter-terrorist police. They did actually guard the Israeli flights.
I'll tell you what, do you remember what Moshe Dayan... Well, you wouldn't remember, but when the...
I remember Moshe Dayan.
When the Munich Olympics were attacked and the Israelis were taken hostage,
72.
Moshe Dayan said that the IDF should invade Munich on the basis it was home of Nazism. He said it was the perfect end to the story of Adolf Hitler, that Israel, the Jewish state, invaded Munich. It's fair to say that Moshe Dayan was seen as a bit too sound.
He was. I was landed at Heathrow Airport back in the sort of late 70s, early 80s, and there was an Israeli tank taxiing behind the plane. It was after there was been some checkout bombing. So yeah, it used to be over here, but now we have our own counter-terrorist police that handle it all.
OK, also what have some of the people said? Oh, well, do you know, it's depressing that Donna in Birmingham has said this, but to summarise, she said that honestly, she thinks that the team from Tel Aviv would be safer playing in Gaza than they would be in Birmingham. And I don't think she's making
that's
that
true. It depends what area of Gaza.
Well, it's not so much she's making that as a joke. She's making that because she's lamenting what's happened to Birmingham.
Yeah.
OK, let's go to Robert in Hertfordshire. Robert, you're on Talk.
Hi guys. I just want to bring to your attention. I mean, I come from EC1 area of London. I've moved out now to Hertfordshire, but it's in the same street as the Thistle Hotel, Barbican.
Oh yeah, I know it. Yeah. Which is now a migrant hotel, isn't it? Yeah.
Is it?
Isn't it? Yeah.
92 offences from 42 migrants staying there. That was at last camp. But
really, only 42 migrants and 9. Are you sure that's right? Because there would be more than that, I would have thought.
That's right. It's probably more now.
Right, yeah. Oh, you're saying there's been 92 offences caused by 42 of them? Yeah, right.
Yes, yes. I don't know if you was aware, but there's a lot of pop-up mosques now appearing, especially in the EC1 area.
Right.
And it was brought to my attention today. There used to be a community hall in Lever Street, which is the next street to where the Thistle Hotel is. It's now been turned into a pop-up mosque. Now,
well, don't you get council tax incentives on religious places?
Yeah,
there is something like that. Yeah.
Look, is this a Christian country?
Yeah.
Church of England. Would you call this a Christian country? So why are we having Sharia law? Why are we having?
Yeah, but it's too. I mean, I know I'm only pushing back on you because I agree with you. But I contend, and I think Asher agrees. I contend that it's not a Christian country. On this territory, there are multiple countries. There's the United Kingdom, but there's also Nelson in Lancashire. There's also Birmingham. There's also the East End of London. These are semi-autonomous tribal areas.
Well,
I mean, it shouldn't be the case.
Well, they are now. Yeah, they are now. But what I'm saying is, so do you believe in first cousin marriages?
No, it's not so much I believe in it. I believe that people are... I mean, the NHS is encouraging people in the tribal areas to do it. They say that it's good to maintain those family ties.
And economically, yeah.
Look, it's...
Never mind the birth defects.
The reality is, we in the United Kingdom are a Christian country, but the tribal areas are not full members of the United Kingdom, in my view. Depressing as that
they have a different legal system, they have different policing, everything is totally different. They even wanted to change the laws.
So you accept that, do you?
I don't accept
it.
You don't accept it. No, just to be clear, Robert, we're furious about it, but what we want to do is just be honest about what's happening, because what you hear from the political left is, no, community cohesion's great, diversity's marvellous, whereas actually what we're saying is, no, you have been booted out of the East End, you collectively, in order to make way for a tribal area to be created, governed by Sharia law. That's what we believe. Do you feel
that you were sort of ethnically cleansed from the area?
Well, EC1? I just think this is going to end in tears, big tears, and a lot of trouble eventually.
Well, it's already happened. It's already happened in this country. You know, we look at Borough Market, we look at London Bridge, we look at what happened at the synagogue, we look at what happened in the Manchester Arena. People are going, it's already happening. There's been nearly 100 people murdered.
But Aston Villa is the first time when a tribal area has asserted its sovereignty.
Well, there was the Batley school teacher.
No, but it's asserted.
Yeah, in an actual city.
It's asserted it. I would argue,
and that's why we got to fight back against
I would argue that the Aston tribal area has asserted its sovereignty. It's said, we as a community do not want Jews to come into our area, and we insist the British state.
And you're right,
complies.
but that's why we should say no and assert our sovereignty and get those players and fans in there and say no and put our foot down now and get that Batley school teacher back and have armed guards around him. And
this is precise.
You've got to go back. You can't appease people like this.
This is precisely, Robert, why people are flying the flag, because they're saying no. Aston is or ought to be the United Kingdom. The sovereignty you have asserted does not exist, and the military are going to ensure, because as far as we're concerned, it's an insurrection, an Islamic insurgency.
Yeah, but how did it come? When did all this start?
It's the boiling frog syndrome. You don't realise it's happening until it's actually you're in the middle of it.
You know, the Muslims represent, I've just looked it up, 6% of the population, but it's like 99% of my ear holes. You know?
Yeah, I mean, therein lies the problem, Robert, because what happens is, Immigration does not exist in the way that people pretend it exists. You don't have a Pakistani family on every street. What happens is people like to be with their own kind, and that's true of you, that's true of me, and that's true of people from Lahore. All the same, or Kashmir, more
Which
likely.
actually shows why multiculturalism doesn't work.
So what happens is when people move over from Lahore, they don't move here to be British, they move here to be Pakistani settlers in a British enclave. And that is what happens. And that's why there's only 6% or whatever percentage it is of Muslims in the UK, and yet there are problems because they're in tribal areas of their own people.
Well, I sort of disagree. I mean, I'm 73. Integration does work. I come from migrant stock. My grandfather was an Italian, and I lived in a tenement building. There was Irish, there's Italians, there's Greek. We had one thing in common. Nobody had soddle. Nobody had soddle.
And you were all joined up. I mean, with the Cable Street riots, it was the Irish and the Jewish, and they all fought with each other because they had a kinship with each other.
Yeah, but we didn't try and change the world. You know, we integrated.
Exactly.
I just don't know how it's come to this. I mean, I don't even know how many Muslim councillors there is. Or I mean,
I think it's fair. I think it's fair to say that if you were to look at proportionality, there is a disproportionately large number of Muslim councillors, simply because they are highly engaged. Okay, Robert, thank you. I just want to say that somebody's anonymously messaged in saying that they work in SENS, which is special educational needs, and it's a special educational needs school, and the majority of kids I look after are Pakistani, and that's because they're all the result of first cousin marriage, even though the school is in a predominantly white area. Well, look, we know that first cousin marriage is an extremely, extremely costly thing to the NHS, but it's like anything in this country now, and I wouldn't blame the Pakistanis. Who cares? The taxpayer will pay for it. I don't have to look after my children. I don't have to be responsible in any way because there's a rich person to pay the bill for me and indeed for everybody else around me.
It's a terrible attitude, Andre.
Exactly. OK, well, I don't think we can go to Grace. Why don't we go to Grace after the news?
What are we going to do for a minute? Should we just chatting that like? Yeah, you can follow me at Virtual Ash, at Andre JP Walker. Call us on that number if you're listening on the radio, 03444991000, or send us a message on WhatsApp. Don't forget, What Just Happened was on earlier, but you can watch it on YouTube.
What's that, Asher?
That's me. That's Kev's show with me and Samara on the panel. It's on at 10 a.m. on YouTube, and it's big all over the world, that show. They love it. I wear a tie on it sometimes. Samara's very glamorous, and Kev's Kev, isn't he? So make sure you tune in for that.
I just want to ask everybody this question: are we not interested in Prince Andrew having given up on his usage of the title the Duke of York? I personally will say
What about
this:
his 10,000 men? Are they going as well?
Oh, do you know what? Do you know what? I had a friend of mine who said that. Do you know Sarah Ferguson?
Well, yeah, Lady, what's her name? Does she lose a dukedom?
Yeah, she does. So my mate met Sarah Ferguson, and she put her hand out, and he said, "It's really funny, isn't it? Because I thought it was the Duke of York who was supposed to have had 10,000 men." And she didn't laugh. She didn't even laugh slightly. She just walked past.
She thought you were being serious.
It's the Duke of York.
We've got another just under a minute. Let's just chat a bit more.
No, don't worry about it. I'll read this out.
Yeah, read that out. Yeah.
Okay. So there are bits of Glasgow which are no-go areas.
Well, the whole of Glasgow, isn't it?
Check out Govan Hill.
Stick the bit the tin.
Please don't forget us. We've got 50% more illegal immigrants than Birmingham.
Really?
It's awful, but my Union Jack is going up tomorrow, as will be my poppy, red, white and blue football scarf. Yeah, all right.
Good man.
Slightly oddly written that, but nonetheless.
We know where you're coming from.
Asher, I think you should go to the break.
Yeah, so keep tuned. It's the last hour. It's all about your calls. Calls. It's me and Andre on Talk. Stay tuned. It's the new news coming up in a minute.
across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
This is The Late Show with Andre Walker and Asher Gould. We're going to just get straight to the calls. 2 slots available, 0344499 1000. Grace has been waiting for half an hour, and I really do apologise for that, Grace.
Amazing, Grace.
I missed you earlier. So it's Grace in London. Grace, you are on Talk.
Hi, I'm not amazing, but I'm very blessed. How are you guys?
You are amazing.
We're good.
I thought about a previous caller saying this is a Christian country. I would argue that it's not, as I've said to you guys previously, because Christianity is not really just about tradition. It's about whether or not one personally chooses to follow Christ. And most people, irrespective of whether we've got immigration, most people aren't really interested.
Yeah, but it's officially Church of England. That's a constitutional, monarchy. The King is the head of the Church of England and Scotland, of course.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean all that
much.
What
about Wales?
Christianity has really shaped our heritage. And one of the things I was thinking about earlier was how, with football and lots of things, people can be very tribal.
Yes.
And Jesus said that we should aim to love our enemies. And
he would have been a Fulham fan.
By contrast, some people are saying, well, this team from elsewhere, we hate them. They're our enemies.
Yeah, but there's gradients of the meaning of hate.
It's a tradition.
I mean, when I say I hate James O'Brien, right? What I mean is I don't like listening to his show. I don't enjoy it. I don't have any personal desire.
It's like booing over a national anthem. England fans do it and they go, "Oh, how dare you?" But it's just a sort of football fan thing. You got to get over that sort of thing because you can't arrest the whole crowd.
Well,
it's ridiculous.
I'm thinking in particular on this occasion of those people who are wanting to riot against the fans who could be visiting.
The thing is, that wouldn't be the Villa fans, that would be the locals in the area.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying that these people are considering all of Israeli heritage to be to blame for what the Israeli government has done. And that's very much in contrast to the idea that had really influenced our country, an idea given to us by a Jewish man who had said that we should aim to love others. Instead, some of the people of Birmingham apparently want to protest against people just because of where they come from. And it's awful. And I worry about the direction things are heading in. And seeing this MP who had organised this petition say there's no anti-Semitism in our community.
Well, yeah, but Grace, what is it? Don't you think we should be strong against it? And I think they are going to change their mind and have the fans come to the stadium. We've got to basically hit this, nip this in. Well, we're already past the bud, but we've got to fight back against this and stop appeasing these different people.
I think, it's wrong to appease it, but at the same time, we can't necessarily force people not to be hateful, and I think that applies in very.
Well, you can be offensive and that, but you can't be violent. That's there's a fine line. You can be offensive, you can be abusive, but you can't be physically violent and racist.
I mean, one of the things about Jesus' message is that the best way, really, to become less hateful is to think about the fact that he's died for us, and therefore we should be forgiving and empathetic towards other people in turn.
Yeah, but it's easy, Grace, to be forgiving and empathetic as long as you win. I mean, when we're in a situation where our society, where our culture, where our heritage is being destroyed, isn't it important to win that battle first and then love what's left of your opponents?
I don't know how you win a battle or why that should be the aim. I guess I'm saying that there's a lot about our culture and our heritage that I think is great, but Christianity in itself is about a personal decision to follow Jesus, and if one does decide to follow Jesus, it does start to impact on how one feels about others. I have found myself that I felt more empathetic as I have grown closer to Jesus, and I think that part of the reason people are more acrimonious and hostile is that there's less of that, and we just, as human beings, we become more tribal, and I think that what we're seeing with these fans wanting to stop people coming from Israel is a reflection of the tribalism that can happen.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Grace. Let's go to Katie in Cambridge. Katie.
Oh, hi there. Hi, Andre. Hi, Ash.
Hello.
Hi, morning.
Hello. Oh, good morning. Yes, of course.
Yeah, man.
Okay, sorry. I'll get
Rise and
straight to the
shine.
point. Thank you. I felt compelled. Okay, and not the power of the Lord, by the way. Yes. Anyway, so what it is that I'm third generation Jewish immigrant. As in, my grandmother fled Germany in the late 1920s.
Okay.
And so what it is also I've learned more about what was happening in Germany and Vienna in the 20s as well. As everyone thinks, oh no, it all starts.
Yeah, I mean, my grandparents were from Vienna in the
Right.
20s. Yeah, it was horrendous. You know what was going on.
That's what I mean. And then, and the thing is, sadly for me, I'm from Cambridge. I don't come from money or anything like that. I just mean that, I happen to be here. I really don't want to be here, I'll be honest with you. But I'm not in the centre.
What do you mean, in Cambridge, you mean?
Well, I'm from Cambridge, but you know what I mean. Like, anyway, yeah.
What do you mean, you don't want to live in the centre of cities, do you mean? I mean, is that...
No, yeah, sorry, I'll get to the point. So if you've seen certain things that happen at the campuses, King's College and...
Oh, are you a student? Are you a student, are you?
No, I'm not a student. No. I'm younger than you. I don't know, maybe I'm around Andre's age, if I'll be honest, I don't mind.
He's much older than me.
Okay.
What's funny?
But the long and short of it is, Katie, and he's
walking around Cambridge. Yeah,
he's winding you up. He's winding you up a little bit. What you're saying is that you're from Cambridge, and actually you can feel the hostile environment to Jewish people that is growing up in Cambridge.
Well, in Oxford and Cambridge, of the universities, it seems the more intellectual and the more they have these anti-Semitic sort of. I mean, we saw the guy. I think he's been charged now, but we saw him talking about the Zios, put them in the ground, and we saw the guy from the Oxford debating chamber what he said about Charlie Kirk, and obviously Cambridge being a massive student town, you're feeling it in the town, are you? And also the people at the lefties that all live there and fill up their population in Cambridge.
Sorry, and just to say, so I've witnessed people that I used to be next door neighbours to over the years. On some, I'm not going to say, you people do YouTube videos and you can see, and I was like, oh, what? And they're shouting. I'm not going to use the word, obviously, but they use certain derogatory terms, shall we say?
Is it the Y word?
Be supporting the. Yeah.
Okay, I'm quite surprised by that, because quite often these people like to pretend they're anti-Israeli. They don't admit they're Jew haters.
They slip sometimes. Like there was a guy on the LBC station who forgot to say, the Israeli army, said the Jewish army. Sometimes they drop their guard, but we all know what they mean when they talk about Zionists.
100%. And one more thing, and again, because I'm not naming anyone, you won't get in trouble with this. I actually spoke to somebody that was staunch of a different religion. I think you know what I mean. And just like to ask the questions. There's a sign in the Cambridge Market outside the Guildhall, which is council. They have their stalls out there, right? And one word said jihad, right? It said that. I'm sure I'm allowed to say that. I felt uncomfortable. So I asked the question anyway. I was trying to just engage in conversation and was saying that anyone who's an unbeliever will burn in hell. Even Christians, and by the way, I need to give a shout out to Grace and Ken. I do love that. They're very kind with what they say.
Great double act.
I guess what I mean though is wow. So even Christians, okay. So it's again but that was I don't go around filming. I'm just saying that's a private conversation. But just the way that he was yeah, you're going to have to convert. Everyone's going to have to convert. And it's like they were almost openly admitting about some kind of...
And what do you do in Cambridge, for a job? I mean, how does it affect your life? What do you do?
So I don't work currently because I escaped abuse.
Right, I see, yeah.
From somewhere else. Yeah, it's a long story. I don't really want to go into
No, we don't need to go into
that. I'd like to work, but what I mean is that I don't feel safe in Cambridge. I have worked, by the way. Don't get me wrong. I've definitely worked. I've had a good career history. It's just, in fact, I've worked for Jewish bosses as well. It's like they've all left Cambridge now.
Do you agree with Tristan in Southend, who basically has always been Jewish, but he's one of those people, and I know the Gould brothers are not in this camp, but he's one of those people who was basically brought up to not mention he's Jewish because of fear of, either fear of something or just wanting to be discreet. And he sort of came out as Jewish.
And gay.
Because he felt that now it was a time to stand with the community in a way that perhaps he hadn't felt he needed to before the 7th of October. Is that the way you feel?
Honestly, you're so insightful. Thank you for saying that. That's it, 100%, because after the massacre of 2023, right, October 7th, right, I put a yellow ribbon outside where I live
Yeah.
And I live in a very diverse community, and I felt like I was getting dirty looks from certain people. I feel like I couldn't show any support when I walk around Cambridge to talk to, any of the people on site. Everyone was, it's intimidating. No, now is the time. Okay, so sorry, I'll let you get on with the other calls.
No, it's not a problem. It's interesting.
Well, yeah.
It is, I promise you. Okay, so I'm speaking now from Omar, right? Hey, Asha, right? You know this, right? So, obviously, I don't really speak German because I was too young when she died. But I got.
Oh, your grandmother. Yeah, your grandmother.
Yeah,
Omar is. Yeah, Omar.
Yeah.
I thought it was in Northern Ireland.
Sorry. No. My
you don't have to speak in euphemisms. If what you're about to say is, my grandmother grew up in Germany, and all of the things that are happening now in Cambridge were happening in Birmingham.
That's why we have to stand up.
But she left Germany. Hey, the thing is, she left in the late 20s.
So she could see things were happening, and that was probably a similar situation to maybe worse than now, actually. But she already sensed it coming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just felt the need to call.
Okay, Katie. Just before you go, are you a first-time caller?
No, I spoke to you guys before.
No, could you make it the last time? No, we're only joking. It was great. It was fantastic.
It's fine.
I was going to say, because obviously it's not that you sound a little bit nervous, but obviously you were being quite delicate there, and I can understand.
No, but her nerves have gone. You can hear now. I just
wanted to encourage you to call again.
Do call us,
Katie, thank you so much. Let's go to Ken in London. Hallelujah, Ken.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. God bless you too, man. I'm enjoying listening to your show tonight, and I would just, if you don't mind, I would just like to tell you what the main thing I noticed when I became a Christian. That was 45 years ago. There was something dramatic happened to my heart. I was a kind of arrogant type of person. I always looked after my family, but I never had much concern for others. So I was kind of very.
You were single-minded, Ken. I don't believe it.
Okay. Yes. But in a bad way. I just wasn't concerned about others. I thought I was always right, and I never gave much concern for
You don't think that now, do you?
Well, I believe Jesus is right, not me, Ash. I believe God is right. But listen, this is what I noticed in my heart. I'm telling you what happened to me after I repented of my sins and I trusted in Jesus as my Lord and Savior. God gave me a love for people and a concern for others that I never had before in my life. It was amazing.
And how does this manifest? Do you go around people's houses and help them out, or what do you do? How does this show itself?
It manifests, first of all, in talking to people to find out about them and to tell them of the love of God for every sinner.
Yeah, but do you give them any practical help, like in the garden or shopping?
I'm trying to reply to you, Ash. The most important thing is to talk to people and give them an idea, a thought, an encouragement to seek to know our Creator, Jesus. That was the big dramatic change in my life, and it's a wonderful thing, and only by the grace of God.
Yeah, but you just got it, didn't you? You got the feeling. I think you were in hospital or something. You had it, but you're just telling people to accept it, whereas you actually had a feeling. Shouldn't they just wait till they get the feeling that you got? Why should they just listen to you?
That's a good point. But how did I come to know Jesus? Because a man spoke to me openly and boldly in the building site in Windsor, Ontario, the foreman. I'll never forget him. His name is George Beaumier. He's now in heaven. He was a big French-Canadian man. The first day I came on the job, at lunchtime, he came up and said to me, Kenny, Jesus loves you and is concerned.
Ken, can I interrupt you and ask, when he did that, did you sort of roll your eyes and go, oh, God, here's the Bible basher?
Yeah. What was so different about this experience when he said that?
You know what I did? In my mind, I'm looking at him and I said, this guy must be mad.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how did you change? So explain the rest of the story then, how it all changed.
Okay, I thought this guy must be mad, but he was a born-again Christian. I never met a born-again Christian before. And what he said stopped me in my tracks. Here was a man in the building site who had courage to come up and tell me, a stranger, in a building site, it's a rough place, to tell me that Jesus loved me and was concerned about me. And that caused me to stop in my tracks. When I was a wee boy, I used to pray to Jesus before I went to sleep every night. And then I grew up and went away from God.
Yeah, of course.
That caused me to go back and talk to Jesus like a wee boy. I would say, Jesus, if you're there, please help me in my life. I began to talk to him like a wee boy, childlike faith. I said, Jesus, I'm a sinner. Please help me. Please forgive me. And I'd done that for about 3 weeks, calling out, reading the Bible. I couldn't understand it. Then one night, I've told you before, I was driving home from my Bible study at my friend's house in my truck, and driving down the highway, we've been talking about sin in the Bible study, how we're sinners, we need God's forgiveness. And God, the Holy Spirit, spoke to me right into my heart. He said, Ken, Jesus loves you and died for you.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Ken. Why should they listen to you and not wait for that in their head?
What's that?
Why shouldn't other people get that? Why should they just listen to you telling them to believe it?
Well, I'm sure that other people do. I just plant seed. I'm only a seed planter as a Christian. I just plant seed, tell people the good news. Tell you, Ash, I warned James Whale for 27 years that if he didn't repent and believe in Jesus, he would go to hell. And I've told you that for the same 27 years, and you are still rebellious against the one who loves you.
Well, look, we don't know what happened with James. We don't know what happened in the end and what he thought. But he was a very spiritual person. He was baptised. He was buried in the churchyard, and we don't know what happened.
No. James was a mocker all the time.
But you don't know what he did. I mean, you're judging James now. Anyway, thanks, Ken. Let's go, Angie. Or should we take a little break?
Let's go to a break. But I want to read this out because I want you to think about it during the break. Hi, this is from Ian. You're pointing out that Asians are living in enclaves, but so do Jews. What's the harm? Muslims have Sharia law, but Jews have Beth Din, but neither are the ruling laws of the UK, and to suggest otherwise is nonsense. I accept that birds of a feather flock together, and I accept that people will always have multiple horses that they ride on, one being British law, which is mandatory, and other being biblical, rabbinic or Quranic law.
But in the Jewish religion, you're commanded to obey the national laws of where you live before. You have to obey that by Jewish law.
My concern is the creation of enclaves that are exclusively Muslim. And indeed, I would be against something that was an exclusively Jewish enclave. My understanding is that that has not happened. Also, somebody else has pointed out that when Robert was talking about multiculturalism, actually the integration that he was talking about was amongst European groups who are, and that's easy to achieve because they all have a common morality and history. We don't have that same kinship with people from the Middle East or Africa, and I think that's from Kiki.
I mean, if you look at the Jewish East End, it was different culture, but it blended into London and British culture, didn't it? It didn't try and separate itself. It was different, but, you know, fish and chips, smoked salmon, bagels, and it sort of blended into London culture like it did in New York. It wasn't separating itself.
Although it wasn't perfect, because remember, there was a member of the Jewish community who had seen or claimed to have seen Jack the Ripper's final attack and said that he wouldn't give evidence on the basis that the death penalty was against Judaism. And it was a Jewish person that...
And on that bombshell, we'll take a little break here and we'll look more into that. We'll be back with all your calls in a couple of minutes.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Are we allowed to comment on the adverts?
Not really, no. It's a crushed sausage, that's all we'll say.
I'm sorry. A McDonald's breakfast, it's a hamburger, isn't it?
No, it's a McMuffin,
Is
but
it
we
a
can't
pork
talk about...
burger?
I love Burger King as well, and Wimpy, the Bender. I love a Bender.
What's a
And then I
Bender?
go to Wimpy's after.
What's a Bender?
No, a Bender is a sausage that's bent around, like, and they give you knives and forks in with. It's
I
quite
had a mate who
gourmet.
had that.
The Wimpy's now are like gourmet places.
Have you ever had a brown derby?
You can get an eggy Bender.
Right, don't talk to the gallery because they can't hear them. Right.
Well, they should listen. Right, Janice, Clacton-on-Sea, Janice.
Brown derby.
I've spoke to you guys for a long time.
All right,
Thank you for taking my call. That sausage
great to hear
sounds
back
like
from you,
a
Janice.
German
Yes,
one,
you
a
what?
bent one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
What?
I want to ask your guys' opinion on so I think quite seriously.
Those Polish sausages are filth, aren't they? Those big fat
the
ones.
Bratwurst, it's a South African. But anyway, go on, Janice.
Yeah, and South African. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the places do bent sausages, don't they?
We love a sausage.
What I like to ask you guys, I need your opinion.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into a load of details, but I've talked to you a long time before. Now, I've got a dilemma where I've got social workers coming, I've got council people coming, I've got literally... See, when I had to run to the phone when it was charged, I've got literally paint falling on my head.
Paint falling on your head?
Yeah.
So you're in a poor quality council property?
Don't you dare tell me that. No, I'm going to say one thing before you say it to me.
Yeah.
Don't sell. I can't because I'm not in a fit state to do that. But I've got all these people coming at me, left, right and centre, telling me to do this. I've done everything that I've done.
Are you the woman who told us about dancing rats on your bed? There were rats dancing on your bed.
Yeah, I did.
You had dancing, synchronised dancing rats on your bed, and the council came and they didn't believe you. What's happened? Because this was about a year ago. Have the dancing rats...
and the flies. You didn't let me tell about 2 bedrooms that had about hundreds and hundreds of flies.
So what's now the current situation?
Right, well, my ceiling's falling in. Right? A council will come round.
So you can see upstairs through your ceiling?
They're going to do my roof. But
They're going to what, your roof?
They're going to repair my roof.
Yeah.
I put quotes in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They said, no, it's okay. Even though I own part of this piece of crap, they said, no, we'll do that. Put quotes in. They've knocked back the quotes. Now they said put a boiler in because they ain't got a boiler for years. Yeah. Then they're going to go, I've got no lighting. So they're going to do that.
You've got nothing and you've got... Are the dancing rats still there?
No, and they're going to... No.
Are the dancing rats still on your bed?
Can I finish? No,
yeah,
can
sorry,
I finish?
Dennis, yeah.
They're going to... I asked for a stair lift. Right. And I said, can you
need
just...
electric first.
I can't get in the bath. So I said, can you just put me a shower in the bath? I can't get... No. Don't want to spend 15
You've got no
grand
boiling water, you've got a
on
hole in your ceiling, you've got no stair lift, you've got dancing rats on your bed. I mean, it's just getting worse and worse.
No, I haven't quite got the rats yet. I will have.
So they've gone? Because you had them before.
No, I haven't got... I can't
But
get
they
in the
denied,
bath.
they denied you had
15
dancing
grand.
rats. Now, Nigel Farage is your MP. Have you been in contact?
Sorry, who?
Nigel Farage would be happy to help you out.
God.
He can't come here.
Why not?
Because she can't make him a cup of tea. There's no...
But he's not going to go anywhere. He doesn't like... I know he doesn't like rodents, but I mean, what's the future then, Janice?
Well, my future is rodents coming in, isn't it?
But that was your past as
No,
well.
I feed pigeons and I feed squirrels. So they'll be getting on the roof and I'll feed them from there, won't I?
You're feeding the vermin.
Give me a 15
You're
grand
encouraging it.
wet
You're
room.
feeding them.
A wet room.
You wet them?
I don't want a bloody wet room.
Why do you wet them?
Janice, why should I care about this subject?
It's important to help. We're here for the community.
Yeah, well, they're not helping, are they?
Have we not?
All
Have
I've
we
got
helped? Have we helped you out, Janice? Have we been of? Have we been of help, Janice?
I'm not quite sure. Can I ask you one further very serious question?
Of course.
Very serious question.
Yeah.
I've got to a point in my life, I'm knocking 73 now, and I am not in control of my life, and I don't like it.
What do you mean you're not in control of your life?
People get to a point in their life where they're not in control, and I've realised...
What do you mean you're not in control?
Can I stop this for a second?
I don't like not being in
Can I just stop this for a second? Janice, I'm very sorry to say this, but it's very clear that you are not somebody who should be living on their own anymore. I think it's time to consider sheltered accommodation, where you will get your own flat. You'll get your own flat, but you will also have people assisting you. No, we can't have a discussion. We can't have a discussion about falling in roofs.
But she loses her independence.
She hasn't got any independence. She's living in a hovel. She hasn't got any independence.
The body's gone, brain hasn't. The body's gone, but the brain hasn't.
But the reality is, you do not want to go into sheltered accommodation because you feel it's for people at the end of their life. That's not true.
Yeah, no, you like living independently, Janice.
But she's not living independently.
So you're not happy with your lot at the moment?
The place has fallen apart because you can't maintain it, because you're not physically able to do it.
All right, Janice, you know what we're going to do for you? We're going to do a poll on Twitter. Should Janice move into a home? All right? Why not?
No.
Why not?
I'll die first.
Well, yeah, but let's see what the public says. Just to give you a little guide.
Of course, there comes a point, Janice, where they'll section you. And let me explain.
The point is,
right, listen.
Don't worry, they're not going to section you, Janice.
Listen to me. There comes a point where your refusal to go into a place where you can live properly will be deemed to be mental illness in of itself, and you'll be forced to do it.
Ill.
I'm not saying you are. I'm saying if you live in a house, if you live in a house that is substandard and unfit for human habitation, there will come a point at which they will force you out.
Yeah, but that's the council not doing their job, isn't it, Janice?
It's not a council. I own the piece of crap.
Well, why don't you fix it then?
Well, look, I mean, the other option...
They've got the money to sell the property.
The other option is to continue to live in a hovel. It doesn't bother me.
What about selling it?
Oh, can we stop? This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
All right, well, look, are we going to put that Twitter poll up?
It's utterly ridiculous. Yeah. If you're physically incapable of maintaining your property and ain't got the money to maintain your property, then you're going to have to do something else. Get lost and let's have a break.
OK.
across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is Talk, and I'm going to say to you why I was so concerned about Janice a minute ago. This isn't any form of apology. Officially, the local authority will look after you, and officially, you have to contribute towards your own care when you need it, whether you're either physically or mentally incapable. That is not the way the system works. Let me tell you, the council is infested with social workers who are mates with care home owners, who are married to them, related to them, worked with them previously. What will happen to Janice, I guarantee you, is a social worker will come in, spot that she owns her own home, eye up a residential home for her to go into, then they will engineer for her to be declared incapable, then they will sell her house on her behalf and give the money to the care home. And if Janice is unhappy about it, the good news is the order will be made in the family court, where it will be a criminal offence to publicly argue against it. And what will happen is the social worker who is mates with the care home owner they'll be in collusion together right from the start, and she will be left standing. My own view is she should move first before they're allowed to.
Should she have, like, if she's got a son, daughter, or niece, nephew, should they be given the power of attorney, financial and health?
I would.
So you should look into that if you're listening, Janice. Let's go to Angie. All right, Angie in Plymouth.
Oh, hello. Hi. Thank you so much for having me on.
That's all right.
Yeah, I just want to say really to you both, Andre, fantastic monologue at the beginning. Just really summed up everything that is going wrong. And I know that. Oh no, thank you so much.
I'd like to say I work hard on them, but I make them up as I go along.
No, my love. But what I want to say is, I mean, I'm a regular contributor, not usually at this time of the night, but I just did feel so strongly today about what has happened with Aston Villa. Although I live in the southwest of England, Plymouth, I'm a retired English teacher. Last 8 years of my career, I worked in London, so I have many friends from all different backgrounds. I have some Muslim friends, but I have many Jewish friends, one of whom is Anne Frank's posthumous stepsister, Ava Schloss.
Oh, wow.
She was Anne Frank's what? Her what?
Stepsister, but it was after she died.
Okay, yeah, because he had more children, didn't he?
So did some of them survive?
A father, well, a father, Otto survived, who actually probably, and he had another family, didn't he? After they were all murdered, his family,
so
horrendous.
If I could just say, what happened was, Ava and her mother survived. They were released by the Russians on January the 27th, and obviously, as we all know, sadly, Otto was the only surviving member.
Anne died nearly just a few days before the end, didn't she, of cholera?
Do you know, Angie, obviously we are going to talk about your subject, but there's one thing that's always struck me about the Holocaust, just to slightly divert away. When they were saying one side you lived, the other side you died, that's not really true. It's basically both sides you died, but one of them you would be gassed immediately. The other you would be starved and worked to death. And when you think about Anne Frank, the bit that people forget, she basically died because she lived in filth for years. Oh, well, but I don't think it was years.
There were no gas chambers in Belsen.
No.
They just literally were starved and died of the most. It's just
well, there were thousands of camps. Some camps were just death camps. There was no working. You literally were just. Well,
killed. I think there was a place. There was a place where the American army claimed the SS had fought to the death. In what is, I think now the American soldiers are dead now. I think it's very clear that nobody believes they fought to the death. But why they were so angry was because a trainload of Jewish people had arrived, and because they didn't have the manpower, they just left the carriages locked and allowed them to die over several days, which is just horrendous.
But can I just tell you about Ava before I go on to my other things?
Definitely.
So because she's now 96, she's still alive. So she's Anne Frank's posthumous stepsister. Because what happened was,
isn't she a half sister if her dad was Otto?
No, she's stepsister because she and her mother survived her brother and father were, I would say, murdered on the death marches. But obviously Otto then survived. So Otto then married Ava's mother.
Oh,
right, so she
I
already
see.
had Ava. Yeah, right, I see.
I see, I was struggling there for a second.
So that's interesting. Did you ever meet Otto then?
No, I did not. But I got Ava. I was teaching. I was head of year at a school in Greenwich.
Yeah.
I got Ava into our school every year, right into her 90s. She's now 96 years old.
Really?
Yeah, she's still alive. And do you know what? She was in her 90s and she came and spoke to, although it was Greenwich, it was a comprehensive school, so most of the Greenwich children went to public school, but we had kids from Charlton.
But one of the things that Asher and I, so I mean, obviously, I know more about the Jewish community from doing this job and whatever, but Asher and I got invited to the Holocaust Educational Trust dinner, and whilst we were perfectly respectful to them, it was very, very clear that in their mind, the narrative was, we are concerned about the rise of anti-Semitism in Britain, and we're also concerned that not enough refugees are being allowed into the country. And, to me, it's pretty obvious that uncontrolled immigration is why anti-Semitism is increasing. But in their mind, they had this kind of weird view, which was the right hate immigrants, therefore that's why anti-Semitism is on the rise. And I just thought that I can understand if I'd grown up in a concentration camp, quote unquote grown up, I can understand why I'd be very concerned about the plight of refugees. But I do think, even though I want to be respectful to these people or what's left of them, I do maintain they're wrong on the issue of us taking unlimited numbers of refugees.
Yeah. No. All I can say is, there's a couple of things, if I'm allowed to have the time, that I want to say. But,
yeah, sure.
So I want to speak about Aston Villa as well, obviously.
Yeah, sure. Don't go for it.
But with Ava, and she's 96 years old, she's still alive. I've tried to make contact with her recently because obviously I'm worried. But do you know what? She came in to a comprehensive school, multicultural, lots of kids from all different backgrounds, and they were wowed by her. And she was in her late 80s, early 90s when she used to come in on Holocaust Day.
Was she a Holocaust survivor herself?
Oh, yes, her and her mother.
From where, Germany as well, or Holland?
Her and her mother survived Auschwitz. They were
what she said, Asher, just to recap, because it got a little bit confusing. Yeah. I don't blame you for that, Angie. She said, obviously,
I blame you for that.
Otto was the only person from the Frank family to survive, but this woman and her mother also survived separately.
And did they meet in Auschwitz, or they met when they came back and they had something in common? Right.
Ava's written 2 books, and I would strongly recommend people to read them. There's one for children, Ava's Promise it's called. And
Ava's Promise, right.
Ava's Promise. And the other one is called After Auschwitz. And I've got a signed copy, which I would gladly lend to you guys to read. But it's...
Well, no, keep your signed copy. We'll get it ourselves, you don't want to get rid of that.
It's called After Auschwitz by Ava Schloss, and it is just...
But Ava's Promise is a film, isn't it?
Sorry?
Oh, there's a film called Ava's Promise.
Oh,
no, it is about her.
Yeah, it's about it's After Auschwitz documentary as well.
Yeah, it is about her.
Yeah, this is very interesting. Yes, so right, interesting.
And I would say that it is, although she is understandably said she can never forgive what they did to her people, and understandably so.
Yeah.
And I'm, but what is remarkable about the woman, who is still alive, age 96, she wrote this book about how she rebuilt her life, and I just think it's absolutely wonderful.
I mean, I obviously knew a lot of Holocaust survivors growing up. Yeah, I mean, my grandparents, and I knew my grandmother and my grandfather had died. But a lot of the Holocaust survivors seem to have even happier lives than normal people would, because I don't know, they sort of looked at it as a new life in the main. It's quite strange. They live very happy and they love their families.
I often wonder about that.
They enjoyed life to the full.
When I watched the Windermere Children, I thought to myself, look, they've shown at the end the successful ones.
That was the kinder transport.
And I get that. They've shown the successful ones. But there also must have been some that dragged themselves to death due to depression.
Yeah, I mean, of course there was. You know, you never hear about those sort of people.
Because they're not the people who are going to turn up at synagogue every week, are they?
You only hear the success stories. Yeah, that's true. What else then, Angie?
Can I just say about the Aston Villa thing?
Yes, go for it.
Obviously, when I was working in London, my husband, it's a long story, but his uncle's from the southeast, and we're die-hard Crystal Palace fans. Don't hold it against us, okay? But,
I'm sorry to hear that.
When I was working in London, I went to every single home-and-away match.
It's just a horrible ground, isn't it?
Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, no, it's my little family.
Traditional. Yeah, I like it. Is traditional. I'll give you that, but it's a bit smelly and that and dusty.
Smelly
and a bit smelly and dusty.
But anyway, listen to me.
I come from Villa Park.
So,
yeah.
No, it's wonderful. But anyway, we had to go when Cardiff were in the Premier League. We had to go.
It was a long time ago.
When Cardiff was. But listen to me. We had to go to the match, and we were pulled off the motorway and given a police escort into the ground. Apparently, they didn't like us, so we got a police escort. So all I'm saying is, this is absolute anti-Semitism. Not letting these people go into what support their team. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It is, because as you say, if there's anything police know out of control, it's football crowds. So they could have easily, even if it would have been a bit more spicy.
They could get a police escort in and out.
Of course they could.
This is absolute pure.
But what I said, Angie, at the beginning of the show, I think is worth repeating, which is this. The reality is we are talking about police services, police forces, that in order to avoid offending, quote-unquote, offending the Muslim community, they allowed Pakistani paedophiles to rape children for 15 years, right? Now
some were in the council, that was the thing.
At the end of the day, if you are a police officer who is willing to arrest the victim's dad for trying to free them,
and even the victims, got arrested.
Then you are going to be well up for a big lump of anti-Semitism, because your central aim is, you believe, rightly or wrongly. Look, the reason these police are bad people, they're not sex offenders, they're not Muslims, they're not any of these things. They are so crass and so weak as people that they believe the way they will be promoted is to pander to the agenda that says diversity is right, and therefore they're saying, I am willing to allow these children to be raped by paedophiles as long as it gets me a promotion to sergeant.
And it does, and that's why we get the heads of police like Sir Mark Rowley, like we have
Peter Fahey,
and it's all falling down and collapsing around us.
And let us say what the elephant in the room is here. I honestly do believe that Starmer will do absolutely nothing.
Of course.
At the end of the day, he wants the Muslim vote. He wants the Muslim vote. That's the problem here. And, I love this country. I'm very proud to be British. As I say, although I live in the southwest of England, predominantly white, we are a white country, but we are a Christian country. I'm a Christian, but I have lots of Jewish friends. I have Muslim friends. And, but I will tell you this before
She's not keen on Hindus and Sikhs. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Oh, yeah. But Hindus and Sikhs don't want to bomb us and blow us up, do they, at the end of the day?
Yeah. And also, to be fair, the majority of Muslims don't either.
Can I just say one more thing before I go? Because I know you've got other people here. Now I've gone blank. What I would say is that... We really do need to just reclaim our Britishness, and we need to. I've got Muslim friends who have integrated into our society and just fantastic.
And they don't like seeing what's going on.
Well, thank you, Angie. I was watching a documentary about the Millennium Dome, now the O2, and it's amazing. It was that period under Tony Blair when this whole idea of the Maoist Year Zero, get rid of all of our British history, get rid of all of our heritage, change the country through immigration. And the Millennium Dome was originally planned to be all the greatest artefacts from 2,000 years of British
It was
history.
absolute rubbish.
And Blur
that. I tell you, I
changed
went to
it
that.
into faith zones and talk
We did a
zones.
24-hour show there on the Millennium New Year's Eve, and it was the worst. It was the most boring place, and we had a stupid walk into this human bottom, and you walk around there to the liver and the heart, and all. But it became the most successful entertainment venue. Incredibly, everyone was a big white elephant.
I very rarely say this. I think John Major's plan was right. His plan was to get all the greatest artefacts from all of the museums of the United Kingdom and put them in one tent. Okay. Somebody said I should apologise to Janice. Well, listen, in the fullness of time, you will find me to have been right. And by the way, there is absolutely no stigma whatsoever of going into sheltered accommodation. More next.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Oh, yes, it's the Yasmin, the teenage witch. Yasmin, you're on Talk.
Jazza.
Hi, darling.
Come on, Yasmin.
Hi, darling.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. What you got for us, Jasmine?
Oh, you want a prediction? Right, okay, I shall go with you first. Right, what I'm seeing is you're going to smell, look, it sounds strange, but there's a guy in your family from the past who smoked a pipe, and you're going to smell that smoke coming in.
Yeah, that was my grandmother.
Oh, come
on. Also, you've got the ring of Saturn.
Yeah, I wonder what that was this morning, yeah.
Curry last night.
The ring of Saturn, which means basically within 8 days, something good and brilliant's going to be happening to you. It's going to be worldwide, and it's going to be something you're launching or doing. I'd say within 8 weeks, some new platform.
You said 8 days. Is it 8 weeks or 8 days?
I've got an 8. So
I'm going to be a worldwide star within 8 weeks.
Or 8 years.
Look,
8 something.
You're going to do something within the next 8 years. Let's just confirm.
Probably. Yeah.
Within the next, right, I'll tell you. Within 5 days, you're going to think of it, but within 8 weeks, you're going to start a new project, and it's going to be worldwide. So it's something to do with World Wide Web, YouTube, some kind of new show that you're going to be doing.
Fantastic.
All right?
Fantastic
that's
news.
That's in your private time. Also with you, you've got a special
friend
meal celebration coming up, and that's within the next 6 weeks. Yeah. You've also, around you, you've got an energy of wanting brand new things. Listen, you've got the Ace of Wands, which is to do with fertility, it's to do with newness, it's to do with new opportunities coming in, and that is going to be very significant. You're definitely going to have something written down or writing or something. Now, with it being a feather quill pen, it's either musical or something like that. Do you know what you'd be good at, Ash?
What?
Doing a Christmas...
song, a Christmas song. We did one, didn't we? We did the Whaley Christmas rap a couple of years ago.
Yeah, but did it get anywhere?
Yeah, no, but we loved it.
Well, I think it needs to be re-released.
I think you're right, yeah.
There's also something to do with the house or moving around you.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing here I'm getting is your front door. Something around the front door needs mending.
Needs painting, yeah.
Yep, okay. Now, Andre, darling, I've got loads for you.
Can you make it more snappy? Because, you know, we're near the end and Ben's coming in a minute. Do it in about a minute.
Listen, let me
nice
just
and snappy,
say
Janice.
something.
Nice and snappy.
Let me just say something to that, Ken. I didn't like the way he talked about James Whale being in hell, because he...
hold on, Janice. Ben Fletcher, who's going to be doing TalkSport and talkTV after... Well, no, TalkTV is going to be the best of it. We're on Talk Radio and TalkSport. He wants to be read by you.
Okay, well, tell me mine then.
He's going to just plug his ears in. He's just getting ready.
Who do you want me to speak to?
Ben Fletcher, the presenter of the next show, he's just joined us. Ben, can you hear Janice?
I can't, but that's fine.
Oh, Janice.
She just makes it up anyway.
He doesn't
right,
mean it.
listen, Ben, are you a fire sign?
He's going to... Hold on, Janice. We're going to plug him in with some proper ones that work.
Why don't you do mine while we're waiting?
Do Andre's. What's Andre's happening then?
Thank you.
Nice and snappy.
All I can tell you about this man who you've just talked about is either going to Hawaii or volcanic island, Italy or somewhere.
You going to Hawaii or an Italian volcanic island?
That's absolutely right.
Is it? When are you going? Where?
That's got to be a setup.
Well, no, why? Hold on, Johnny.
No, I want to hear more. because that's
Stop.
That's
So you think we're taking the mic? We're not. We're not.
So where are you going?
I'm going to Lanzarote next week.
There you go.
Volcanic Island.
That's true.
Volcanic Island is going to. He's also got connections with a school or a teacher connection. I also feel that I don't know, I can't see him on TV, so I don't know. I feel as though he's got a very attractive energy, and I'll tell you another thing. He can attract females with his energy. He's so powerful.
He does.
Oh, come on, no bloke's going to deny that.
But if you're watching, he looks like the sort of bloke that goes to Lanzarote.
No, she's not. What?
6 weeks.
Mystical,
Within 6 weeks, he's going to interview a very famous person.
Well, he does that on the show anyway.
Has he got a Welsh connection? Because I see Wales very big in his future.
Welsh connection.
And I also feel...
Right, hold on, Janice. Have you got a Welsh connection?
Well, my grandfather's surname was Hughes, and one of the people I'm getting Lanzarote with is from Wales.
Wow.
And
go on.
He's very protected. I also feel around him. Does he live in London?
No, outskirts.
Well, all right then. All I can tell you...
But she's from Manchester. It would be London, really.
You're moving inland. You're moving nearer London. I also feel around him, wow, there's something about his ears.
Yeah, he's got funny ears, yeah.
I also feel he's got a gift himself. I'll tell you what his gift is. He's very intuitive. He's very, very intuitive.
Oh, come on, but nobody's going to deny that, are they?
No, but Ben is good.
I'd like to hear more about my ears.
What's going on with his ears? He's worried about his ears.
Good or bad vibes?
Let me just say, when I saw your ear, I feel as though they either need cleaning or somebody looking at them. That's all I'm going to say. But I do
saying he's got dirty ears.
Going up the ladder of success.
He's intuitive, but he's got dirty ears. That should be on your Twitter.
Listen, he's signing a contract before the end of December for something very special. He's going to interview very high personalities. Right, Andre, for you, 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Well, we haven't really got 2 minutes.
No, keep it going. This is better than my show. Keep it going.
Right,
we're looking ahead to the Premier League.
Well, they're going to replay this in your show, apparently. We've just got your producers in.
I wonder if he's ever been in that industry, you know what I mean? Because he's got a gorgeous voice, right?
Oh, thanks.
Let me have a look. Right. Andre, something about you. You're going to an Irish celebration.
Oh, come on.
Yes, he is. He's got a campfire, a harp.
He's got a lot of camp
door
things.
Opening. There's something connected to Ireland coming in. I also see an S initial around him that's going to be significant. Oh, I've just got Stars and Stripes. So you're doing something for America, or some kind of something to do with America.
So generic.
What's it called a production thing, or interviewing somebody from America.
Yeah, I'm doing an Irish-American adult entertainment film.
Oh, you'd be brilliant at
No,
that.
I would not.
He played Gary Newb on a couple of weeks ago.
Can I just say something, Andre?
Ron Jeremy, yeah.
You know where your dad lives? If you can plant some acorns, it's going to be really...
Oh, I'm not planting anything. Not after the wild strawberry incident.
From acorns grow oak trees.
Andre, you're going to learn how to forage in the forest. That's going to be brilliant.
Because he's going to need to eat.
I'll be honest with you. I've got to be careful about this because this could cause my dad some problems. But he has discovered truffles under his trees.
Yeah, truffle pig.
Andre, if you're shooting, wear specs. If you're going in a car, clunk click. Especially if it's a new drive.
If I'm shooting, can I go anywhere near car homes?
Andre,
No.
listen.
No.
If you're shooting a firearm, wear
That was some sort of joke, I think.
safety goggles. Wear the safety goggles. And remember, Andre.
Right, I'm not shooting anything. Right,
Yeah,
let's
that was
just
a joke.
Let Yasmin speak.
That was just a sick joke, and forget it.
Andre, you can always shoot on a candle. You know that, love.
Can't shoot anything. I'm not very good at it.
I hope you enjoyed that. But tell
No, I
that
didn't.
man not to say about James Whale being in hell. It's cruel.
Right, let's just leave. Let's actually cut that off. Simply because, but no.